The Roundball Report presents Maryland State Tournament Championship Basketball. From Cole Fieldhouse on the campus of the University of Maryland, it's the Maryland 4A State Championship game between the Trojans of Gaithersburg High School and the Clippers of Oxon Hill High School. Working this contest with me is my partner, James Holt of Ibo. And James, both of these teams have fought all year long to make it to this point. They're at Cole Fieldhouse. It's been an outstanding game.
Yes, it definitely will, Andrew. These two teams, they're here for the first time. In other words, they have an opportunity to win a high school championship in their school history. So it's going to be an interesting contest to see who comes out victorious tonight.
Now, James, it's going to be a tale of two teams. Got here by different paths. Gaithersburg coming with an outstanding 26-1 record, only one loss in the season. You can say, if you will, they were expected to be here. Tell me a little bit about what we can expect in this ball club in this game.
Well, they have 10 seniors on their team. They play like 13 multiple defensive sets. It's just driven by senior leadership. So these guys have been here before. They lost last year in the state tournament, so they have a little bit of redemption to let some folks see why they're here this year.
Now, by contrast, Billy Lanier's Oxon Hill Clippers, a young ball club, sophomore-laden team, got hot during the regular season, but James may have a young ball club, but his seniors really stepped up at tournament time.
Yes, definitely. So they have 3 seniors on their squad, but it's driven by senior leadership as well. Mr. Ryan Gore, he's one of the key players on their team, and his play will determine how they'll play tonight on the court.
They got a matchup with the big fellas inside. James Sweetney, a sophomore, has been doing outstanding things for Oxon Hill. The young fella really developing at the right time for Coach Billy Lanier.
Yes, definitely so. He's a strong player inside, knows how to, work real close to the basket, has a real good, strong jump hook. So it'll be interesting to see if they get him off early in the ball game, because they'll probably have to depend on his height to kind of get them through with this aggressive team that they're playing from Gaithersburg.
Well, James, I don't know about you, buddy, but I'm really starting to feel the adrenaline. These teams have worked all year long to make it to this point, and we'll get right to the tip-off right after this, so stay with us.
This is David.
Oh, hi.
This is what David's done. David went to college. Annapolis. David taught himself to play piano, the sax, even the bagpipes. Well, maybe not the bagpipes. David was NBA Rookie of the Year. He's also been to the Olympics twice. David even became a naval officer. David's sure done a lot. But you know one thing David's never done?
Drugs.
David doesn't do drugs. Maybe that's why he's done so much.
Welcome back to Cole Fieldhouse, where they are announcing the lineups for this 4A championship game. Right now, they're announcing the Trojans of Gaithersburg High School. And James, we mentioned these two teams come in operating off of 2 different paths. Gaithersburg coming in with a record of 26-1. Only one loss on the season, a loss early in the season to Wilson High School, but the coach really has them on a roll.
Yeah, he definitely has them on a roll. They went undefeated in their regular season play. They didn't lose to any teams from Montgomery County, and all the teams out in that area are very competitive and pretty sound coach teams. So that's a tribute to this team being here tonight. They're rewarded by being here in this championship game.
Now, by contrast, as we said in the open, Coach Billy Lanier has done an outstanding job. We recognize him on the Roundball Report, and I got to give you kudos for that part. You gave me a scoop on Billy, and lo and behold, his ball club, a young ball club, has made it to the state championship game. And one concern Billy has to have with a young ball club, they haven't shown the deer in the headlight syndrome so far, but given that this is for all the marbles, you think that might be a concern?
This could be a potential concern, but with the 3 seniors that he has on his team, I know that senior leadership will carry him over the hill. Billy should probably be up for Coach of the Year in Prince George's County for the tremendous job he's done there at that program with those young athletes. I mean, it's very tough to get players to play on a consistent level such as they've done to be 22-5 tonight.
We're going to try to pick up the lineups for Oxon Hill. Given that this is the state tournament, they're announcing the entire rosters for these ball clubs.
And that's kind of like a reward to the whole team in a sense, to just acknowledge everyone, because everyone put in the hard work. You got to have players on the team to practice with too, so you got to at least give these guys a little bit of the acknowledgement, because they wouldn't be here if they didn't have those kind of players to practice hard in practice.
Without a doubt. It's a cooperative effort, and you and I both know from both playing and coaching organized sports, sometimes the guys who don't get the accolades are some of the key to glues to making the team a success.
Yeah, because usually with defensive practices, those teams always kind of mirror and emulate the teams that they're going to play against. So you got to have a player that can do some of the same things that star player of the opposing team will do.
Now we got the starters for Oxon Hill. That was number 32, Ryan Gorham. He's had an outstanding tournament. At point, they have number 52, Richard Little. At one forward, they have number 20, Adrian Bryant. Other forward, senior number 44, Charlie Sharpe. And at center, the 6 foot, he's actually 6'8". They list him as 6'7", but he's 6'8". I heard some folks from Largo last week unaffectionately calling him Big Country, but we're going to call him Mr. Sweetney in this contest, Michael Sweetney.
Yeah, I've watched Mr. Sweetney grow from a little lad from playing some of the community ball or recreation ball in the county, so it's a treat to see him here tonight.
There we see head coach Billy Lanier. He's assisted by Phil Mitchell, Lamar Barnett, Lamar Butler, and John Gonzalez.
And sing along with the playing of our national anthem.
And James, as is the custom with an event of this magnitude, they're going to have our national anthem right now. And the coaches shake hands at midcourt, a symbol that this contest is about to begin. James, these two teams, as we've mentioned, you fight all year long to make it to this point. They've made it to Cole Fieldhouse. The officials for this contest are going to be George Pinchak and Dave Cross. Oxon Hill will be in gold, trimmed in black. Gaithersburg, the Trojans, will be in blue, trimmed in white and gold. I'm Andrew Dyer, along with my partner James Holt, bringing you this Maryland State Championship as a special presentation of the Roundball Report, which airs in Prince George's County Wednesdays at 5, 8, and 11 p.m. on CTV in Prince George's County, and can also be seen all throughout the Washington metropolitan area. I want to give special thanks to our fine production crew, spearheaded by Rudy Childs, ably assisted by Adam Alpern, Jerome Rivers, and David Barnes. Guys, thanks a lot. We're doing a great job here. We've already given you the starting lineup for Oxon Hill. The starters for Gaithersburg are number 34, Nehemiah Rudolph, number 42, Mike Ryan, number 52, Charles Johnson, in the backcourt, number 4, Gerard Woods, and number 12, Seamus Hunt. Well, James, we were saying that one thing to look for early might be if this young Oxon Hill ball club will be a little jittery at the beginning. We'll see if that unfolds.
Yeah, this is where we separate the men from the boys in a game like this. This is where guys step up and rise to that occasion.
And the opening tip is controlled by the Clippers. This is the point guard, number 52, Richard Little. Gaithersburg in a man-to-man defense.
Early on, they indicated they'll probably throw 3 or 4 defenses at Oxon Hill early on. And
our first 3 points of the contest go to Ryan Gorham, the 6'2 senior guard. Drains a 3 from the top of the circle. It's 3-0 Oxon Hill.
Well, that's indicated that he's loose and ready to play tonight.
Hunt has it out top for Gaithersburg. Charles Johnson penetrates, and the little floater in the lane is good for 2. 3-2 Oxon Hill.
That's a nice looking floater for 2 right there by Mr. Johnson.
Gorham on the penetration, got up in the air. Good defense on the play, forced a turnover. Gaithersburg gets possession, trailing 3-2. And our opening minute here of this 4A state championship game. Mike Ryan brings it across. He takes it to the rack. Kiss off the glass. No good. Battle for the loose ball. Picked up and put back up and in by number 4, Gerard Woods. The little fella, he took advantage of the big guy bringing down low, James, and he got the easy steal and layup.
But that's the reason Gaithersburg is here, is because of their defensive intensity and pressure. They just go after the ball any kind of way they can.
Sweetney takes it strong to the rack. Too hard off the glass. Can't get it to go. Ryan brings it the other way and throws it out of bounds. Early on, James, looks like Gaithersburg wants to take advantage of the transition opportunities.
Yeah, they're explosive on defense, Andrew. It's going to be interesting to watch this team and see how they play for 32 minutes with this defensive intensity and how Oxon Hill handles it.
Gaithersburg with the full court pressure. Oxon Hill gets it to Little. And the putback is up and in by Charles Sharpe, the 6'3 senior.
That senior leadership for Oxon Hill right there on the court.
Nice pass to Johnson. The reverse layup is up off the glass and in for 2. That puts Gaithersburg in hand for the first time at 6-5. Gorham thinks about the jumper, decides against it, and gets it back to his point guard, Little, who sets things up for Oxon Hill.
Oxon Hill exercising a little patience out there. Now, they had a break, but they held up on it.
Gorham on the penetration. Dishes it off to Sweetney, but he's called for traveling. And, James, that's the second time we've seen Gorham take it in the hole, get up in the air, wants to take the shot, force the pass, and it's resulted in 2 straight turnovers.
They started out playing well with the jumper for 3.
And we see Coach Billy Lanier giving his own full court pressure. This should be a full court contest throughout. Both teams like the up-pace pressure defense. Seamus Hunt gets it across.
There's a little travel there.
And he's called for traveling. And as you're going to tell, James can give us insight from covering these teams as well as officiating. He's a card-carrying member of IBO, the fine officiating organization that covers these teams throughout the year.
Replacing Seamus Hunt.
Have a substitution for Gaithersburg. Number 24, Carlton Marlow checks in, replacing Seamus Hunt. Gorham over in the corner. Back out to Little. And it's stolen away by Marlow. Marlow brings it across for Gaithersburg, who lead by a score of 6-5, just under 6 minutes to go in our opening quarter of this 4A state championship game.
Already, that's 2 steals by the Gaithersburg defense, and that's what they're known for doing, is pressuring and causing a lot of confusion out on the court.
Johnson on the penetration, can't get it to go. Follow, put back up and in by Nehemiah Rudolph. Gaithersburg out to an early 8-5 advantage. Again, full court pressure. They get it to the Little General, Richard Little. They find Sharpe down low. His pass is knocked out of bounds, and the Clippers will retain possession.
Yeah, Gaithersburg is doing a tremendous job early on, too, on that offensive rebounding end as well. They've gotten a couple of putbacks on second shots.
Hekima Jackson, number 22, and number 54, Ronald Miller, check into the contest for the Clippers. Nice backdoor by Gorham. Can't get it to go, but he's fouled. Excellent action on that play, James. A little traditional backdoor cut.
Yeah, exactly. You know, just like the coach written it up in the playbook.
Speaking of coaching, I want to give justice to head coach Paul Foringer of Gaithersburg, his assistants Jeff Sims, Paul Jordan, and Joe Rendazzo.
Yeah, I talked with Mr. Paul Jordan early on prior to the game, and he shared with me the effort and all the work that this team has done to get here to beat 25 or 26-1, and it happened over a 4-year period of time.
It never happens overnight. Both of these coaches being rewarded for building their programs, and they've reached the pinnacle right on the verge of a state championship. Gorham converts both free throws. Mike Ryan takes it strong to the hole. Could not get it to go, but he was fouled on the play. Personal on number 54, Ronald Miller, a 6'7" sophomore center. As we said, Billy Lanier has a young ball club, but he's got the seniors at the core that are the glue to keep these young guys, show them the way.
Yes. With Ryan Gore, he's the go-to man. He's the one that has probably been the real reason that they're here tonight. I mean, you know, it's a team game, but there's always someone who really steps it up and helps carry the team.
Ryan misses a pair, and Sweetney with the rebound. Oxon Hill brings it the other way. This is Hekima Jackson.
It's a little double team.
Gorham thinks about the three, steps inside the line, jumper no good. Rebound put back up and in by Ronald Miller. Got the Twin Towers in, if you will, for the Clippers of Oxon Hill right now, and they take the lead at 9-8.
Well, when you look at these young men, the ones that are in the 10th grade, they got to be somewhere between 15 and 16 years old, and they're playing here in Cole Fieldhouse unconsciously.
They have no idea of the magnitude of this contest, and that actually is probably working out to their advantage. That time we had the steal. We see a sign of the youth as the 6'7" center Ronald Miller corralled the rebound, but for the second time in the contest, when you bring it down, the basic fundamentals, the little guy is going to strip it away, and that time Gerard Woods did it, and in frustration, Ronald Miller committed the foul for Oxon Hill.
You got to remember that this Gaithersburg team is a crafty team, and that's like the third time that they probably went down low and snatched the ball from one of these strong rebounders that the Oxon Hill team has.
Oxon Hill now in a 2-3 zone. Gaithersburg working the perimeter of the zone. Nice penetration, floater too strong off the glass, and Sweetney corrals the rebound. Little with the nice drop back to Gorham. Excellent body control by Gorham. Avoided the charge and kissed it off the glass for two.
That was a nice little floater up there for the two.
Oxon Hill stretches the advantage to 3 at 11-8. 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go in our opening quarter on this special presentation of the Roundball Report, this Maryland 4A state championship game. I'm Andrew Dyer along with my partner James Hope, bringing you this contest on community television of Prince George's. Again, this zone giving Gaithersburg problems, working the perimeter. No shot clock in high school basketball. And the tough shot in between two defenders is up and down by Nehemiah Rudolph, the 6'4" senior for Gaithersburg. That cuts the deficit to 1 at 11-10. Hekima Jackson, he strokes the jumper, and James, that young man has been doing that all throughout the tournament.
All season long, as a matter of fact, Andrew. All season long.
He's a 6'1", another 10th grader for Billy Lanier's Clippers of Oxon Hill.
Yeah, this is one of these teams here that you look at, an Oxon Hill team. If all these young men stay in the program, they should be, probably ranked on the national level in a couple of years.
But I'm sure Coach Billy Lanier is letting these young men know that the future is now in terms of tonight. Three-pointer is good by number 42, Mike Ryan. Excellent patience shown by Gaithersburg attacking the zone, and the three-pointer ties the score at 13. Little brings it across. He finds Gorham in the corner. Down low to Sweetney, double team. And he gets it to go. Yes, and it counts.
The control of that young man. I mean, he has such soft hands and a soft touch. That was a nice little turnaround there. Plus getting fouled and the ball just falls in the hoop.
Michael Sweetney, unfazed by the double team, utilizes his body, excellent body control and footwork, as you mentioned, James. He got the shot to fall, and he was fouled.
Those Twin Towers that you mentioned, Andrew, they probably will pose a little problem for this Gaithersburg team, because I don't think they've dealt with this kind of height in their league that much. I mean, in terms of with the athleticism that these young men have out here.
In this Clippers ball club, that's one of the strengths that Billy Lanier has. They really can play any style of play. If you want to play a slow-down pattern game, he can work the Twin Towers, and he's also got enough strong wing players to work the full-court game as well. Sweetney converts to conventional three-point play. That stretches the Clippers' lead back to 3 at 16-13.
Okay. There's a little
shot, no good. And Sweetney corrals the rebound. Hekima Jackson brings it the other way for Oxon Hill.
That shot that Mike Ryan missed, that's the kind that you hate to miss in a game like this.
Frenetic pace. They exchange steals. Little finds Sweetney, who rams it home. And the Oxon Hill faithful scream their support.
Well, that sent a message to this Gaithersburg team that, hey, you're in a game now, guys. You want to press us? We're going to press you too.
Seamus Hutt, nice pass. The little fella amongst the trees, nice dish off to Johnson, but he's called for traveling.
If it wasn't going to be traveling, it should have been the 3 seconds, because that guy was sitting in the lane for about 5 seconds trying to find someone to get that ball to. He had twin towers around him. He couldn't do anything with the ball.
And James, Coach Paul Foringer calls a 20-second timeout. He sees the tempo getting a little bit too frenetic for his ball club. As we said, Oxon Hill, even though they have the size, they would much prefer the up-tempo pace.
Yes, definitely. And I think the coach is probably just trying to get his players to settle down over there with the Gaithersburg team and say, like, look, let's just play a little bit more under control. We're making some mistakes that aren't even really being forced.
And James, I just can't say enough while we've got this moment. I want to give special thanks to our crack crew here and to you for helping to coordinate this on short notice. Rudy Childs bringing professional crew. I mean, when you have a guy like Rudy stepping up to the plate, there's nothing I can do but say, hey, I'm on board as well. We got Rudy, Adam Alpern, Jerome Rivers, and David Barnes doing a crack job bringing you this contest on community television of Prince George's. Back to the action here after that commercial break. This is Little bringing it across for Oxon Hill. Beautiful pass to Sweetney. That big fella has some moves. Don't be fazed by his size, ladies and gentlemen. He's a very skilled basketball player.
Skilled and soft hands. And you love to have big men with soft hands. They can do so much with the ball when they have those soft hands and just lay it up there and finish it off with a 3-foot finger roll.
And you know that, James, that's one thing Sweetney can do.
Yes.
It's finger roll. Jump shot no good, and Sweetney climbs high for the rebound.
And he's a strong rebounder, too. And
reverse layup, no good.
And running
Sweetney,
the court.
The big fella doing it all down to 18 seconds to go in the quarter. Michael too sweet Sweetney. The big fella showing much game early on.
Yeah, he finished that off. I was just getting ready to question his fatigue out here. He looks a little winded, but he made it down the court after the rebound.
2 seconds to go in the quarter. Johnson gets the shot off. Oh, unfortunate foul on the play as Sweetney is called for the hack right at the buzzer.
Yeah, that was one of those plays as I was watching him run up and down the court after he made that 2-point play down at the other end. I was looking to see, he looked a little winded. So usually that's what happens with players when they're tired. They come down and make a foul that sometimes is, questionable because of the fatigue factor.
Charles Johnson will be at the free throw line for 2. He gets the first one to go, and that stops a 9-0 run by the Clippers. That cuts the deficit back to 8 at 22-14. Time has elapsed in the first quarter, but the foul was called at the buzzer. Johnson gets the second one to go, and with 1 in the books, James, our score, Oxon Hill 22, Gaithersburg 15. We'll be back with second quarter action right after this.
In the 100 years since a YMCA instructor invented the game, millions of kids from every walk of life have played basketball in Y programs, building friendships, gaining self-esteem, and in the process, maybe even learning basketball. Support your local YMCA.
Our shootout winner is David.
Welcome back to Cole Fieldhouse for the special presentation of the Roundball Report. It's Maryland 4A State Championship Basketball. I'm Andrew Dyer along with James Hope. Second quarter, Gaithersburg in blue trailing by a score of 22-15, and they immediately turn it over. And it's knocked out of bounds. Excellent steal on the play by Jason Jackson. And James, we started to see toward the end of the first quarter, Oxon Hill's quickness starting to pay a toll, and that trend has continued here to start the second quarter.
Oh yeah, they're doing the right things with the basketball.
Excellent backdoor play again from Sweetney to Gorham, but Gorham a little bit out of control is called for the offensive foul.
And one of those player control fouls, something that you don't like to see players commit on the court sometimes, but it does happen when you're out of control.
First personal on Gorham, 4th on the team. Ryan takes it coast to coast, contested by Sweetney. Gorham gets it over to Hekima Jackson. Jackson takes it all the way, can't get it to go, but he's fouled by Gerard Woods. And James, Hekima Jackson, I want to give a little personal insight. This is a special presentation of the Roundball Report, and this is a special young man. The Maryland Stallions, a fine organization that recognizes fine youth players. This young man is a graduate of that program and was on the Roundball Report a couple years ago. And to see this young man, a shy young guy with a shirt and tie, blossoming into an outstanding basketball player is really a testament to the folks at the Stallions and to Hekima Jackson.
That's excellent, because we want to see our young men in the community grow and come to this level to be able to play play in Cole Fieldhouse, because this is some of their dreams when they see these kids that play for the University of Maryland on television. This is their opportunity to come here and kind of emulate and duplicate some of the things that they've seen done on TV at the collegiate level.
Jackson drains a pair. That stretches the Clippers' advantage back to 9 at 24-15. Just underway here in the second quarter of this 4A state championship game. Nice penetration, can't get it to go as Carlton Marlow had everything except to follow. Loose ball picked up by Ryan. Johnson on the reverse. Excellent play. And James, that's something you want to do. Sweetney definitely has the size, but you want to keep the big fella moving laterally as Johnson did on that play.
Yes. He's still got to work on the footwork on the defensive end, I guess, and that'll all pay off during some of the summer training program.
And Hekima Jackson scores again, a little floater in the lane. And James, that young man represents instant offense off the bench for Billy Lanier.
Yeah, he has youth out here right now who can definitely do some things with the basketball.
Oxon Hill now playing strong man-to-man defense. Johnson again looks to take Sweetney. Pulls up, no good. And the rebound is put back up by Nehemiah Rudolph. Could not get it to go, but he was fouled on the play. It looks like they caught number 44, Charlie Sharpe.
I think it was 22.
Personal foul on number 22, Hekima Jackson.
I should leave it up to the official who's sitting right here. Good eyes on my partner. They caught number 22, Hekima Jackson.
It was a good call. They caught him in there reaching. It's one of those ones he could have passed on because the guy probably would have lost control of the ball in the first place. Number 34, Nehemiah Rudolph.
And Rudolph will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair. James, any early signs you can see? Obviously, Oxon Hill has a 9-point advantage, but who do you think this tempo favors right now?
It's definitely in favor of the team with the most points on the board right now. And I think all it is that Gaithersburg, they just need to make some minor adjustments. And you usually, if you can't make them during that period of the game, you try to make them during a break in play. And that's all it is. They haven't been doing anything well with the basketball right now.
Rudolph converts both free throws. That cuts the deficit back to 7. Sweetney with the nice grab and strong take to the hole. Very impressed by this big fella again. He's a 6'8" sophomore.
As the young guys say, he's a beast underneath.
That he is. He's been showing a lot of versatility. As you mentioned, nice block and steal by Gorham.
Oh, the little dipsy-do behind the back and a pass, and yep.
Little too much razzle-dazzle that time as Gorham, the senior, perhaps feeling like he's on his stage, his last and final chance. Did everything right, got the block, the steal, did the behind-the-back maneuver at half court, but then again he left his feet, and you never want to do that unless you're going to shoot the ball. In 3 situations he's done that, James. 2 with turnovers, actually all 3 turnovers, but this one an offensive foul.
Yeah, that's his second offensive foul or player control foul, so that's one of the things I'm sure the staff will talk to him about and say, you know, use a little better judgment when you're penetrating into the middle of the paint.
He's replaced by number 20, Adrian Bryant, the other senior, 6'3".
But they really lose nothing with Adrian out there now that he's out there in the role of Ryan. KG senior.
Johnson takes to the rack. Can't get it to go. James Johnson has shown some excellent moves, but just has not been able to get it to go down in the low post. You think he's fazed by the size inside by Oxon Hill?
He's probably taking little, second looks at the hoop when he sees those big guys jump up out at him, because they do have a 4 or 5 inch height advantage over him.
That time, Nehemiah Rudolph, he eyed the big fella down and drained the jumper right in his face.
Well, some teams, they do like to attack big men. They want to see them play defense, and that was one of the things that was just done there. So maybe they'll try that again.
Sweetney could not get the dunk to go. The ball was tipped on the way up. I see Gaithersburg's coach is pleading for a technical foul, James.
Yeah, sometimes you can hold on to the rim to protect yourself from an injury, so that's probably why the official didn't choose to make any kind of call there.
Gaithersburg on a run. They've cut it to 9. Johnson on the pump fake. Wow. This time Sweetney does get the rejection.
And Sweetney's been out there for the whole game, Andrew, and it's going to be interesting to see how well he plays in the second half, because This is a little larger than the course that they play at the high school level. So it's going to be interesting to see. But this also is probably their third or fourth game playing in a collegiate gymnasium.
Gerard Woods has been a constant pest on the defense for Gaithersburg. He knocked that one out of bounds. Oxon Hill has possession again. This is Little out top. Hekima Jackson on the penetration. Stop and pop, no good. Rebound by Sweetney, and the big fella puts it back up and in for two.
Now that was a power move.
Michael Sweetney has been showing that he's got all the goods. Down to 4 minutes to go here in the opening half. Oxon Hill with its biggest advantage at 11 points. Johnson again, and the big fella tells him insufficient funds. He rejects that attempted withdrawal.
And you like the way he blocks the ball. He just doesn't swat it out of the arena. He blocks it and goes up and grabs it and maintains it and starts something like a break.
James, looks like the big fella is starting to show signs of fatigue. He's played this entire contest.
He's got the slow feet now.
Woods for three. The little set shot, no good. Strong rebound by Adrian Bryant.
And he's walking up the court now, so you can see the fatigue factor setting in on the young man.
And it looks like they have Ronald Miller at the scorer's table. They're just waiting for the next whistle to give Michael Sweetney a very well-earned rest. Little on a penetration, can't get it to go, but he's fouled on the play.
Yeah, you got the telltale signs. Anytime you see the players when they bend over with their knees, pull their trunks, you know they're a little fatigued and winded. And I know he's probably looking forward to getting over there and sitting down and getting some rest.
James, I can't say enough about the job that both of these coaches have done, but especially Coach Billy Lanier, a ball club that basically came out of nowhere this season. They weren't expected to do much, and they just continued to go on and play without a conscience.
Yeah, no one in Prince George's County would have imagined that Oxon Hill would be here today, I think. Early on in the preseason type talking and some of the little preseason tournaments that they had, no one would have imagined that they would be playing for the 4A championship. But that's, you know, a compliment to Billy Lanier and his staff and all the hard work, as well as the faculty at Oxon Hill, the work that they've done with those young men, because some of them are doing extremely well in the classroom too, just like with the Gaithersburg team.
Without a doubt. These are scholar athletes, a true testament of that. As Little converts both free throws, that stretches the advantage to 13 at 34-21.
Because on the academic side, both of these teams have, you know, some pretty gifted young men in the classroom from what I was told by the coaching staff. And they're really pleased with what they do in the classroom more so than what they're doing out here on the hardwood court.
Hekima Jackson with the penetration and floating left hand kiss off the glass for two.
I think he surprised himself with that one.
Yeah. Another timeout, a wise timeout call by head coach Paul Foringer, James. And I was just about to ask you, this is perilously getting close to a danger time. A high school game's only 8-minute quarters. They're down by 15. What do you think he's going to tell his ball club? What can they do to get back into this contest?
Well, probably what he'll emphasize is what they've done all season long is one game's playing, you know, team defense. And right now, I think they've just had some breakdowns on their team defense concept. So if he can get them back on that page to play team defense, they might be able to cut into this lead with 2:42 left. And I think that's probably what the objective is, to just not try to get it all at once, but just play team defense and stop Oxon Hill from what they're doing inside.
Now, on the offensive end, what's his ball club going to have to do? Because Mr. Sweetney has controlled things in the low post, and with him being out of the contest right now, maybe Johnson can get off and connect in his low post move.
Well, you got Ronald Miller out there, too, and I don't think that he's, you know, anything like, you know, Mike Sweetney, but hey, let's, you know, go at him and see what he can do. Challenge him, because he's young, and you never know. He might commit some fouls and put it in Billy Lanier's hand, where he might have to get Mike back out there before the end of this period.
As we see Coach Foringer using all elements of that timeout, there you see the reset, 36-22 in favor of Oxon Hill.
This young man that's in the game now, well, yeah, number 32, Cornell Hawkins. You know, Andrew, he was the quarterback up at Gaithersburg. You know, they have an outstanding football program.
Some more insight from James Holt, man about the county, the state of Maryland. I don't want to limit him. Rebound by Johnson. Can't get it to go. And there's been a lid on the basket for Gaithersburg in the first half. Little brings it the other way for Oxon Hill. Hekima Jackson drains the three. This young fella can light it up, James, and he's been doing just that in the first half.
Yeah, these players for Oxon Hill, they're skilled in positions, and I think you hear a lot of players and staff talking about skilled players now as you look at basketball more so, because you got shooters, you got defenders, you got rebounders, and he's a skilled player. He can put the ball on the court, and he can shoot real well.
And that time, Charles Johnson, the 6'4" senior center for Gaithersburg, made a very important basket to stop a very long run by Oxon Hill. He gets it to go, and he's fouled by Hekima Jackson.
Charles Johnson right now, he's pretty much keeping the Trojans in the game. I mean, with his scoring and his leadership right now, because the other players aren't, answering the call right now. So I guess those are some of the adjustments that the Gaithersburg team is going to have to make in the second half or within the last 2 minutes of this period to get back in this game. Someone's going to have to step up other than just Charles Johnson.
And speaking of back in the game, Michael Sweetney is right back into the contest. Coach Billy Lanier, you don't want to see a guy like Charles Johnson get off, and he puts his big fella right back into the contest.
Gaithersburg is playing a little man, well, I guess it's a zone.
They playing a zone, and Oxon Hill is saying, hey, we're up 16. You're going to have to come out of that zone. We don't have to. Again, no shot clock in high school basketball. And this is a strategic thing that sometimes backfires on coaches. Not really a stall. He's just trying to pull them out of the zone.
Well, with these two young players out here, a 10th grader and a 9th grader, I would probably put a little more pressure on them just to, see if we can break them down some. But the Gaithersburg team is sitting, just lay back in a defensive posture and not really pressure the ball. So they can run off valuable minutes in this period and go in the halftime with a little momentum.
He actually made hold for one shot. We're down to 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. Hekima Jackson, whose thought is always to take it to the hole, he had to resist that temptation. Down to 1 minute to go. Coach Foringer at this point, maybe a situation where he wants to just be happy and just get his ball club into halftime so he can make the necessary adjustments, James.
But let's say again, you got two young guards out there handling the ball. Let's make them do some things that they probably don't want to do, but it's not going to happen. It doesn't seem like it's not going to happen right now.
And they've held it for the better part of 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now they are going to be able to hold it for one shot, and the Oxon Hill faithful scream their support. Down to 20 seconds to go in the half.
See, with that strategy, Gaithersburg, they only committed 4 fouls this half, so that tells you that they really haven't been playing aggressive defense, which they're noted for doing. But they get a steal there.
And throw it right back away. A little too hasty that time as Cornell Hawkins, the 6'1" senior forward, got the steal, tried to convert the turnover, but in his haste threw the ball out of bounds, and Oxon Hill has it back. Down to 5 seconds to go. Hekima Jackson will probably try to penetrate. Little at the buzzer for 3. Off the back iron, but that's one of the few things that did not go the favor of the Clippers as Oxon Hill runs off the court with a 16-point halftime advantage, James. We said at the top, tale of two teams. One expected to be here, a senior-laden ball club against young guys who have no idea of the magnitude, and they're continuing that play in this championship game.
Yeah, Andrew, I just want to make one point with the Gaithersburg team. Last year they were 22-2. The year before that they were 17-6, and the year before that they were 16-7. So you can kind of see the trend over the last 4 years with this senior, team now, that they're now 26-1. So they've worked hard to be where they're at today.
Well, James, it's halftime. We are able to bring this as a special presentation of the Roundball Report. And there's another member of our fine crew, Mr. Rob Williams, who's out here working this afternoon doing an outstanding job. I want to make sure that he gets his recognition. But, James, again, I want to commend you for giving me the insight on this Oxon Hill Ball Club. As by happenstance, Steve Matthews, Gwen Bark Ball Club, was scheduled to be on the show last week. Unfortunately, they were upset, and it turned out to be a godsend for the Roundball Report as you were able to get Billy Lanier on the show, and lo and behold, we have a team that's on the verge of a state championship.
Well, we're proud to have this Oxon Hill team here tonight. I mean, I know that they've worked real hard. I know a lot of the staff over at Oxon Hill and the faculty, so I'm very pleased to see that they're here representing the Prince George's County Public School System. I've had some unique relationships with several people over there.
Well, James, it's halftime, an exciting first half, 1 to go, and our score, Oxon Hill 39, Gaithersburg 23. We'll be back with halftime activities right after this.
In Michigan, a widow gets water from a faucet instead of a hole in the roof. In California, a couple won't have to trade their home for a retirement home. In Maryland, sunlight enters a home through windows instead of plastic sheets. Last year, we repaired over 4,000 homes for those who couldn't do it themselves. We're Christmas in April. We do more than rebuild homes. We rebuild lives. Help us help others in our area.
Welcome back. Now it's our distinct pleasure to have as our guest one of the behind-the-scenes figures that make it possible for a team like Oxon Hill to make it to the state championship game. I'm referring to Athletic Director Christine Johnson. Christine, thanks for being our guest.
It's my pleasure.
Now we're at halftime right now. Pretty positive things for your ball club right on the threshold of a championship. Are you a bit nervous right now?
I'm a bit nervous. I've been nervous for 2 weeks.
Now let's talk about we see the things that are happening on the basketball court, but one of the things that Billy Lanier talked about, what's made it possible for him to build his program is the support that he's had from the administration and the faculty at Oxon Hill. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, we have been behind Mr. Lanier ever since we interviewed him. As a matter of fact, even before then. I liked Mr. Lanier when I saw him at other schools, and it was a pleasure for us to get him. He has done a lot of good things. They have study hall. He's in the building, and that's a plus for us. And since he's been there, the grades have gone up. The kids are on good behavior always being a gentleman, and I know that's a reflection of our coaching staff.
Without a doubt, and also a reflection of the administration. That's one of the things we like to do in the Roundball Report is to show the positive sides that the kids are doing, not just on the court, but off. And that's exemplified by understanding we have some outstanding academic students on your team as well.
Yes, we have quite a few science and technology students on our team, magnet, and the comprehensive students are very bright and always working to do well. It's been such a pleasure because there's one young man on our team who's always had a hard time making the team. But Mr. Lanier took him under his wing and kept him in the study hall, and with the administration's help, getting tutoring for him and everything, he has really done a good job.
Well, your whole administration has done a really good job. A half a game away from a championship. Thanks a lot for spending some time with us.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and I hope we come out ahead.
All right, we'll see what happens. We'll be right back after this.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good, oh, with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Support those most in need. Call 1-800-899-0089. See how you can help.
Welcome back to Cole Fieldhouse. We're ready for our second half. I'm Andrew Dyer along with James Hope, bringing you the Roundball Report special presentation of the Maryland 4A State Championship on community television of Prince George's County. Halftime score, Oxon Hill 39, Gaithersburg 23. James, got some halftime stats for us, buddy?
Yes, I do, Andrew. We got, Mike Sweetney with 13 points and 8 boards, and Hekima Jackson with 13 points. And for Gaithersburg, we have Charles Johnson with 10 and Nehemiah Rudolph with 8 points.
And Hekima Jackson was rewarded by his outstanding 13-point effort with a start here in the second half by Billy Lanier. And speaking of starts, an inauspicious one as Gorham was called for traveling. And James, I see Gorham trying to work his nostrils. I understand he took a major cut in a semifinal match the other night, and he's still got a bandage over his head.
Yeah, he had to go to the hospital later on that evening after the contest and get stitches. He had a mean fall and, broke open some of the skin on the head, the forehead. But he's all here and ready to play tonight.
Charles Johnson shows he's ready to play, takes it strong to the hole, and he gets it to go for the first 2 points of the second half as Gaithersburg tries to cut into this 16-point halftime deficit. It's now down to 14 at 39-25. But they have no answers for Mr. Sweetney.
Yeah, big down low, and it's hard for them to contain that young man right now.
Now 15 points in the contest. And that time, that shot was altered by Sweetney.
Yeah.
As Ryan tried to take it to the hole.
I know he has at least 4 blocks that I counted in the first half. It could be more, but I know I've seen him block at least 4 shots.
Gorham gets it back out to Little.
And probably altered about 5 more after that.
Without a doubt. They don't count the alters, but they're often just as important. Coach Billy Lanier wants a timeout, and he finally gets it. Think of a sound timeout. He calls a 20. He sees his team not coming out with the same level of intensity and execution they had in the second half. I mean, in the first half, and he wants to put that in check right away.
It's a big game for him as well as the whole Oxon Hill student body, and I don't think he wants to lose, the focus. I think he just wants to make sure with that young talent that he has out there that, look, guys, let's stay together.
And we see he's leaving no room for confusion in his words, pepping his team up, not wanting them to rest on the fact that they had a 16-point halftime advantage. He's cracking that whip all the way until that final horn sounds and Oxon Hill's on top. As I said, a smart timeout. He's got a 16-point lead, but he's not happy with the early signs he's seeing, and we'll see if his ball club heeds his message.
Yeah.
And obviously part of that message was to get it into the franchise.
Travel.
Hekima Jackson that time committed the traveling violation. And Gaithersburg.
And, sometimes coaches, Andrew, as we've both done before, we tend to overcoach sometimes. And the timeout was probably a needed one, but we'll see how the team responds. They, had a good shot, didn't score, and had a turnover, so we'll see how they respond.
Nice ball movement again. They get it inside, but James, this is a situation they're able to get it inside, but there's always, at a minimum, a moment's hesitation when they run into the big fella.
Yeah, I think Charles Johnson was looking back, knowing that the big fella was behind him, and took a second look and said, I can't get this off.
A decided height advantage. Ryan for 3, and he's true. That cuts the deficit back to 13, and the Gaithersburg faithful give their approval. And a stolen by Gerard Woods. He gets it to Ryan off the glass for 2. And Gaithersburg on a run. They've cut the deficit to 11 at 41-30.
But that's a quick turnaround right there with 2 quick steals to give them, a little momentum and some confidence out on the court again. So let's see how Oxon Hill responds.
They get it into Sweetney. He has his shot deflected. Battle for the loose ball up and no good. And Gaithersburg saves it inbounds with possession and momentum on their side.
But what I realized is that Mike Sweetney was double-teamed on that last time down out, so there's definitely been an adjustment made by the Gaithersburg team. They know that they can't defend him with just one man.
Johnson's shot unable to go. Rebounded by Ryan. He was fouled before that kiss off the glass. Gaithersburg very active here early on in the second half, James.
Yes, definitely. So they've made their adjustments, and usually that's the mark of a good team. You go in at halftime, you have 10 minutes to regroup, make the major adjustments that you need to do to get back in a ball game like this.
And Ryan falls asleep. He's fussing at his point guard, saying the chest pass should have been there, but it hit him in the hands, James. Ryan should have been able to corral that pass. They forced the turnover. Excellent pressure by Seamus Hunt. Forces Hekima Jackson to step on the out-of-bounds line. Gaithersburg regains possession.
We've been playing most of the basketball in this front court of Gaithersburg this half, so we'll wait and see what Oxon Hill, what they're going to do and how they're going to respond from this pressure and intensity that's been employed by Gaithersburg.
First block by Sweetney, and the second shot is affected, rebounded by Gorham. He's been the answer all ball game long. Gorham thinks about the 3, stops and pops for 2. Can't get it to go, and a loose ball foul. Looks like they've caught Michael Sweetney. And Billy Lanier calls another timeout. James, you said that I thought that it was a pretty positive timeout made by Billy, but you thought that it might have been a situation of overcoaching, perhaps getting his team thinking a little bit too much.
Yeah, too much, and then the triad, that he, just, it's one of those things. I'm not even going to second guess it. It was probably needed at that point in time.
Right. It's a first guess. Except just say what you mean.
Right. But it's sometimes you just want to corral, some of their talent and get them to understand what you're trying to do out on the court. So I think, it was probably needed. It's just that they haven't responded from it yet. But the Gaithersburg team, they're ready to play basketball. I mean, Oxon Hill had a strong first half, and this could be Gaithersburg half in the second half. We just have to wait and see.
As Coach Paul Foringer of Gaithersburg has his Trojans on a roll. They've cut what was a 16-point deficit to 11. And they have possession with a chance to cut it to 9 or 8 with a 3. Ball knocked out of bounds by Oxon Hill. Gaithersburg will retain possession. I'm Andrew Dyer along with James Hope, bringing you this Maryland 4A State Championship game as a special presentation of the Roundball Report in conjunction with Community Television of Prince George's. Cephas Hunt finds Johnson out on the wing. He looks to go one-on-one. Again, the presence of Sweetney is always there, lurking to find out any penetrators, James.
Yeah. They've backed it up into a little zone now.
Three-pointer Chimp is no good. Strong rebound by Charlie Sharpe.
Gaithersburg hustling back and getting on defense. So we'll see what Oxon Hill does, how they set it up. But they've been double-teaming Michael down low lately.
Hekima Jackson, close to a 5 count. I could see the official counting. He's fussing at his teammates, James, but that's something you have to be alerted to.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much ball handling. They should have kept the ball out on the front court, worked it around, and, something down low will happen, if you execute. And I think that's what Billy was trying to, implore or at least get the players to understand.
Johnson takes it to the hole. Strong can't get it to go. Strong rebound by Gorham. Again, not blocked by Sweetney, but his presence definitely affected Johnson again on the penetration. As they have a swarm of defenders right now double teaming Sweetney in the low post. Jackson can't get it to go. Sharpe with a strong rebound, and the 6'3" senior puts it up and in. The basket counts, but I believe they detected a rebounding foul on Michael Sweetney.
Well, it was a little push after the basket was made. Sometimes when players, once they clear, sometimes they have a tendency to put their hands in bowls and push guys out. And that's what Mr. Pinchback, he caught, Mike Sweetney with a little push off on going up the court. Just letting the players know that the officials still have control of the game.
Coach Billy Lanier was none too pleased with that call, as you can see by that expression. That's the third on Sweetney, third on the team. No team fouls on Gaithersburg in the second half.
It does them no good sitting over there on the bench with the coach at this point in time. So we'll see what the other players do, how they step up.
Speaking of stepping up, Nehemiah Rudolph steps up and drains the 3, and the deficit is back to 10.
Well, that's his second.
Johnson steals the inbound, takes it to the hole, and an offensive foul is called on Charles Johnson.
That was Nehemiah Rudolph's second three-pointer in this half right now. So he's on a roll right now. Let's see if they keep going to him.
James, that was a very pivotal play right there as we see Coach Paul Foringer sensed his ball club really attempting to turn the tide, but that charge foul sends it back the other way. Ball knocked out of bounds by Gerard Woods. The 6'1" senior guard has really been a pesky defender, caused problems for Little the entire contest.
You see a little momentum swing here for the Gaithersburg team with their full court pressure, man-to-man full court.
They get it into Gorham, and he sends his troops ahead. And Little will bring it across for the Clippers. Down to 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the quarter. Gorham double team. No call. Goes out of bounds. Very careless offensive play by Oxon Hill. They've committed several turnovers, James, but to this point, Gaithersburg really has not made them pay the full price as the deficit is still at 10.
Well, Gaithersburg is noted for their defensive pressure and intensity, and that's what won them. That's what got them to where they're at today.
No basket foul call before that shot attempt, as Nehemiah Rudolph took it strong to the hole, but he was fouled on the floor. And James, as was the case in the first half, as soon as Sweetney leaves, the inside presence of Gaithersburg gets enlightened. They get excited and take it right to the rack.
And I see Billy Lanier's going with a little smaller lineup, I guess, to match up with this Gaithersburg team. So we'll see how they respond.
Ryan thinks about three, decides against it, gets it back out top to Carlton Marlow. Marlow for three, going to come up short. Strong rebound and putback by Nehemiah Rudolph. And James, that's the one downside to a smaller lineup is you're not going to be able to battle as strongly on the boards. And for the first time in quite a while, the lead is at single digits at 8 at 43-35.
There's a count. They're putting a little pressure now.
Without the big fella, who do you think Coach Billy Lanier is going to look to on the offensive end, James?
More than likely it'll be Ryan, but he hasn't stepped up lately, and there's a turnover coming right at us, Andrew. Right in the living room. You all right there? Good catch.
Speaking about right at us, it knocked my headset off. The hands were still there, though, James.
Yeah, that was close action there.
Right in the fray as we're at courtside. And Oxon Hill retains possession. Kept my eye on the ball the whole way. Hekima Jackson calmly drains a three. A huge shot for the Clippers.
And that's his first three, or the first time he scored in this half. So there's something that had been lacking for the Oxon Hill team. And probably one of the reasons that Gaithersburg is back in this thing.
Rudolph can't get the turnaround to go. Gorham with the rebound. He finds Little. And stolen by Nehemiah Rudolph. Ryan on the penetration, and he gets the floater to go. He had to gather his footing to avoid the charge. Just flipped it up in the air, and it came true.
And that was a heads-up play by that senior there, just to come up and have the presence of mind to pull up and make a shot like that. Because those are difficult shots to take sometimes, knowing that a defender is there.
Final 30 seconds of the quarter. Oxon Hill looks to hold for one shot. They lead 46-37. Stolen by Ryan as Jason Jackson tried to penetrate. Nehemiah Rudolph brings it the other way. His little floater is no good. And we have a block call. Looks like they caught number 24, Carlton Marlow, as we see a very excited Coach Billy Lanier. He's out there taking every blow with his team right now, James.
Yeah, I guess he knows that at this point in time, with less than 10 seconds left in a quarter, you just want to make sure that your team gets a good shot and a good look at a shot. There's no need to rush it. There's a lot of time to make something happen, but just don't turn it over.
They get it to Little. He finds Gorham. He thinks about the three. Beautiful move by Gorham. Ryan Gorham. Strong move. And that ends a third quarter that had been dominated by Gaithersburg, but Ryan Gorham, the senior, turns the tide back in the favor of the Clippers as their advantage is 11, James. 3 quarters in the books, 1 to go. We'll be back with fourth and final quarter action of this Maryland 4A state championship game right after this.
impossible!
Actually, Coach, it's not. See, Jimmy had to travel a distance of 90 feet. He reached an average speed of 15 miles.
If academic standards are important to you, call 1-800-38-BE-SMART for a free booklet and be a big league parent.
We're back at Cole Fieldhouse. I'm Andrew Darrell along with James Hope. We're ready for the fourth and final quarter of this Maryland 4A State Championship. Oxon Hill holding a 48-37 advantage. James, a strong run by Gaithersburg, but the net result was only cutting 5 points off of this lead. What do you think they're going to have to do to come out successful in this fourth and final quarter?
Relentless defensive pressure, intensity for the full 8 minutes. That's the only way they're going to be able to get back in this game and probably come out with a win.
As we saw the intensity exhibited personified on the face of head coach Billy Lanier of his Oxon Hill Clippers, 1 quarter away from ending a very miraculous season with the ultimate culmination in a state championship. But Gaithersburg, the Trojans, say that that's yet to be decided. They have possession.
Let's see what they do in this period, if they can get an easy or quick score. But the defense that Oxon Hill plays, too, is something that needs to be, talked about, too. They just didn't get here by, just offensive merits alone.
Johnson again inside, battling against Sweetney. And that time, again, he's finding it very difficult territory to tread against the 6'8", and we'll guess at least 250-pound Michael Sweetney.
He altered the shot and caused a turnover. And those are things that they don't, keep stats on sometimes. But, hey, that's a great.
Adrian Bryant brings it across for Oxon Hill. He finds Sharpe back out to Little. Bryant pulls up. Tried to find Sweetney, was knocked away. Sharpe on the reach-in was called for the foul as he tried to prevent Cornell Hawkins from finishing on that fast break attempt. The Oxon Hill faithful not pleased with that call, but James, that's one that's going to get called 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, that was one of those breakaways that, hey, he reached in, probably, put the player at a disadvantage. That's why he's at the free throw line. Let's see what Mr. Cornell Hawkins, the quarterback, will do with this one.
Hawkins a little strong on the first one. He'll have one more opportunity. He eyes the line, drains the second. That cuts the advantage back to 10 at 48-38. Again, all full court pressure deployed by the Trojans. Under 7 minutes remaining in this contest. Again, this is for the brawl for it all, the Maryland 4A State Championship. Gorham steps back for 3, and the senior steps up and drains it.
Those are big baskets now that this Oxon Hill team. Any bucket that they make now, it makes it even more difficult for Gaithersburg to get back in the contest.
Ryan with Little in his jersey. Gets it back out to Cornell Hawkins, and the quarterback drains the 3 right back at you. Pivotal jump shot by Cornell Hawkins. Sweetney brings it across to Jackson. Nice position inside to Sweetney. He's denied by Cornell Hawkins.
That's a strong block.
Ryan on the floater, kisses it. He gets the kind bounce off the rim and 2. Oh my goodness, what a play by Cornell Hawkins. A 4-point turnaround as he denied Michael Sweetney in the low post. And Ryan converted on the other end for 2. Hekima Jackson has it stripped. Mike Ryan brings it the other way. Little jump shot, no good. They're really letting him play right now, James.
Yeah, that was a good no call there. Good no call. He was up in the air, nothing there.
Hekima Jackson, beautiful dish to Sweetney. And a travel is called on the play.
Excellent call by Dave Cross, an old friend of mine there out on the court.
Again, we're getting the insights from color, not just in basketball expertise, but James is a card-carrying member of IVO, the fine officiating organization that provides the officials for the state of Maryland.
Yeah, we would love to see them, this tournament go to a three-person type officiating crew. We think we could provide a better officiated ball game with three persons out on the court.
It's somewhat of a surprise. Almost at all levels they're going with three officials, but we only have two here. But as we had heard Ned Sparks say, that's the way they've done it all year long. Johnson with the fadeaway jumper, and they've cut it to 6 at 51-45.
It's a ball game now, like I said.
And that time, Gerard Woods, a little too aggressive on the defensive effort, was called for the personal foul. And James, that's the type of physical contact I've been talking about. Several of the turnovers has been some body contact that's really affected the play that the officials have let Gaithersburg get away with. That time, the official caught Gerard Woods.
Yeah, Gerard Woods, he's a skilled player too, Andrew. Just wanted to make a mention that he'll be playing in the MEAC next year as a wide receiver with Morgan State. So he's a football player, really, but he's out on the court. So that just should give you an indication of what type of athlete this young man is.
Without a doubt. And James, Coach Billy Lanier, he sees his young ball club coming apart at the seams right now. Is that time an unforced turnover?
Yeah.
As the 5'7" freshman Jason Jackson just took his eyes off the ball, let it go out of bounds. He calls timeout to steady his troops. What do you think Billy's going to tell his ball club during this timeout?
Right now, it's got to be focused. You got to be mentally focused out on the court and minimize your turnovers. I think that was one of the things that the staff talked about early on in their pregame was protect the basketball and work on the team effort. And that's something that they have gotten away from in this period. And so, therefore, you have the Gaithersburg Trojans back in it. They're only down by 6.
As we see one of the Clippers' favorite fans unfazed by this recent run by Gaithersburg. And James, I would say that this Cole Fieldhouse capacity is 14,000. I think we might be a little over half, about 8 or 9, my unofficial estimate.
Yeah, you're probably about right. I know we pack them in for these state playoff games, and that's the whole intent, is to give everyone a little taste of the Maryland State basketball.
Some of the finest in the country. As we're down to 4 minutes and 42 seconds to go in this contest, fresh off of that timeout. The Trojans of Gaithersburg with momentum, trail by 6. Gerard Woods.
So this is where coaching really comes into play in games like this.
They work the perimeter. Not much movement right now.
Yeah, this defensive change that Oxon Hill has put on has changed the tempo a little bit for them.
Again, Michael Sweetney got credit only for 1 block, but he definitely was a major impact on the play. Looked like Nehemiah Rudolph actually got away with shuffling of his feet before he missed that shot.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one.
Little double team right at the half-court stripe. And he's called for traveling.
Yeah, that's one of those things when you know you're being doubled as a point guard, someone is open on the court. I mean, and that's youthfulness being out, on the court, but you got to recognize, those defensive situations that are, thrown at you. That's another turnover, and that's what I mentioned early on at the beginning of this period, Andrew, is that defensive intensity would get Gaithersburg back in the game.
That it has, as they cut what was a 16-point halftime deficit down to 10. Nehemiah Rudolph rattles it home, and it's down to 4. 51-47. And they get the ball in the hands of Little. Remember, he's only a sophomore.
Well, they're looking towards Nehemiah to take him up. I mean, he's been scoring a lot of their points this period.
Gorham for 3, and the senior stems the tide, calmly drains the three-pointer, and Ryan Gorham steps up again.
You see Billy Lanier telling his team to come on, let's play, pick it up, pick it up.
That stretches the advantage back to 7. Ryan thinks about the 3, decides against it. Rudolph hesitates in the lane and drops a little floater. he expected a presence of Sweetney, but James, looked like Sweetney again showing signs of fatigue, could not get there.
Well, Rudolph's senior leadership, I tell you, Andrew, he scored 12 points for him in this half, so he's doing some things out there that I don't think some of the other players have stepped up to do for the Gaithersburg Trojans.
Nice penetration by Gorham. Sweetney was expecting him to take it to the rack. The pass goes out of bounds. Crucial turnover by the Clippers. And the Trojans of Gaithersburg have a chance to cut the deficit to 3 or with 2 should they make a three-pointer.
But is that focus in protecting the ball? I mean, it was a good pass, but a little kick there by number 24.
It's got to be close to a 10-second count. There it is. Excellent defensive pressure that time by Richard Little, the 5'10 sophomore point guard, stepped up with the big defensive effort when his team needed it the most, and a timeout is called.
Another timeout by the Oxon Hill team. Let's see what they do this time.
James, crucial turnover. Excellent defensive play that time by Little. The 5'10 sophomore stepped up and forced a turnover, the 10-second violation.
Yeah, definitely. So that's probably going to help them get their momentum and get them back on the right page, because they'll have the ball in their front court. And let's see what type of play they come out with in this half or this quarter.
And Coach Billy Lanier realizes he's just 2 minutes and 17 seconds away from perhaps, James, in all honesty, a miracle ride carrying this young ball club. It's really heavily dependent upon sophomores, not juniors. It's basically seniors and sophomores and freshmen that dominate this ball club, and he's got them on the threshold of a 4A state championship.
And that's tremendous to say that you can, get a team here in the state finals in a 4A, contest and be just within a couple of minutes from winning the game with that kind of youth. That doesn't really happen that much, I think, at this level. So we'll see how it pans out.
And Coach Paul Foringer and his Trojans of Gaithersburg are trying to make sure it doesn't happen today.
Right.
As they've had a strong second-half effort led by Nehemiah Rudolph and Mike Ryan, and a defensive effort of Gerard Woods and Charles Johnson down in the low post. It's really been a team effort to get them back into this contest. Coach Billy Lanier discussing something with the officials as they're not going to allow that substitution.
Yeah, he had to be in before the second horn. He had to already report at the table that he was going to be in, so good job by the officials.
They get the ball into Sweetney. He looks for a point guard. Dangerous treading right there. Hekima Jackson. Too many steps. Turnover on Hekima Jackson. James, we talked about these sophomores not realizing what they're into. I think they realize it now. They're starting to crack at the seams.
Yeah, in all fairness, when you're playing basketball at this time of the year in March, you're probably not even a sophomore anymore. You're more like up on that next level, because you've played 20-something ball games. You know what to expect now. So
close play as the Oxon Hill faithful thought that Nehemiah Rudolph might have been guilty of a traveling violation. Was not called. Then on the next pass, Charlie Sharpe was called for the personal foul. Only the 16th foul on Oxon Hill.
What's really phenomenal about the Gaithersburg Trojans, Andrew, is they've only committed 3 fouls this half, and they've been playing real intense defensive pressure, and only to commit 3 fouls, that says a lot about the type of team defense that they play.
Without a doubt. That time Hekima Jackson was called for the personal foul, and that will send Nehemiah Rudolph to the free throw line for the Trojans, who trail by 5, 1 minute and 48 seconds remaining in this Maryland 4A state championship. Rudolph drains the first. It's a 4-point ball game. And he makes a pair. It's now a 1-possession contest, 54-51. Oxon Hill finds their senior, Ryan Gorham. And he's called for the offensive foul.
Ironically, all 3 of his fouls have been player control fouls, and that's something that they'll look back and say, why?
Player control foul, as James mentioned, there will be no free throws, but Oxon Hill is now over the limit. A minute and 40 seconds to go. Mike Ryan over to Gerard Woods. Ryan thinks about the three, penetrates, and another foul is called on the Clippers. This time they catch Richard Little, James, and there's a great discrepancy in the fouls. As you mentioned, Gaithersburg only called for 3 team fouls here in the second half, and that's the 9th on the Clippers.
But that's senior leadership. These guys, they've been around for a while. They've played a number of ball games, so they play team defense, and you don't have to commit fouls when you play team defense.
1-and-1 for Mike Ryan, and the senior calmly drains the first free throw. It's a 2-point ball game. The second one no good. Sweetney corrals the rebound. And Michael Sweetney brings it across for the Clippers. Little on the penetration, and this time they do call the personal foul. Only the 4th team foul on Gaithersburg. Oxon Hill will have possession.
But at some time, it's a disadvantage for the Oxon Hill team because they don't get a chance to go to the line. They have to put the ball in play, and they have to execute. They have to do something with that ball now.
A steal the other way, and it's Charles Johnson can't get it to go.
Oh.
But he puts it back up and in, and we are tied at 54. They've got to get it to Gorham, James.
Yeah, this is where the senior leader has to step up now because they're in a little trouble now.
The referee is counting the 5 count.
Seconds.
And the Gaithersburg faithful, as you can see, are going wild right now as their ball club has erased the 16-point halftime deficit and have tied this contest and have a chance to take the lead. 49.7 seconds to go. They get it across half court and call timeout. Well, as we see Coach Foringer and his Gaithersburg troops are really pulling themselves together, and James, they've climbed a very steep hill. Do they have enough to get over the top?
Well, they've done everything that you need to do to get back in the game, just playing tremendous team defense. And so whatever they do, it's going to affect something that Oxon Hill has to defend. I mean, Oxon Hill's in the 1-and-1, or actually they'll be in a double bonus when they commit a foul. So Oxon Hill, their back's up against the wall right now.
James, the situation, no shot clock in high school basketball. You think Coach Foringer might try to hold for one shot? It's an awful long time, 46.3 seconds.
Well, it's a possibility, but knowing that they have, you know, the possession arrow goes to Oxon Hill, it's a bonus situation. If I was a coach, personally, I'd go to the hoop. I mean, you still have enough time to make some things happen out on the court. And they've been doing it with defense anyway. Oxon Hill hasn't been able to do anything this half on the offensive end.
There you see some of the sights and sounds and pageantry that are the Maryland 4A State Championship here at Cole Fieldhouse. Play back in. Nehemiah Rudolph gets it back out to Mike Ryan. Man-to-man pressure by the Clippers. Down to 35 seconds to go. Down to 25 seconds. Yeah. Johnson back out to Mike Ryan.
Looks like they're going to go for the last shot.
15 seconds. And they call timeout with 8.9 seconds to go. And it's obvious at this point, as you mentioned, that Coach Paul Foringer is going to go for the last shot. 8.9 seconds to go.
Yeah. This is what we, you know, have waited for a long time, to have a contest where it goes down to the wire. I think all the fans here are anticipating something good to happen for you know, either team. And we're here with one of the great telecasts, again, provided by CTV, Andrew.
Without a doubt. I want to give, again, recognition to our anchor of this fine crew, Rudy Trials, as long as our excellent staff of Adam Alpern, Jerome Rivers, Rob Williams, and David Barnes. I'm Andrew Dyer, along with my partner, James Hope. Proud to bring you this special presentation of the Roundball Report in conjunction with Community Television of Prince George's. Special thanks to Executive Director Sherry Byrne and Director of Operations Robert Berry for helping to make this possible.
With 8.9 seconds, let's see what kind of strategy Oxon Hill comes out with the defensive end. It's just...
As the public address announcer, I think fruitlessly tries to request the fans to stay in the stands at the end of the ball game. Down to 5 seconds to go. Charles Johnson looks back at the clock. Jump shot is going to come up short. And we're going to go to overtime. That time, Gaithersburg got it in the hands of their 6'4" senior, Charles Johnson. Had the mismatch against Michael Sweetney at his mercy out top, James, but for some reason he looked behind him to check the time when there's a clock directly overhead.
Right, I guess that's a disadvantage sometimes when you come into new arenas and you're not familiar with the surroundings. There were clocks all over. There was clocks on the court side, so for him to miss, look back, that probably hurt his rhythm.
But that's the only disturbance of rhythm we've seen in quite a while for Gaithersburg, who did an outstanding job. These seniors showing a senior-laden ball club. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seniors on this Gaithersburg Trojan ball club, not wanting to see their efforts for a 4A championship denied, erase a 16-point halftime deficit, and have earned an overtime. We're going to go an extra 4 minutes here, James. And why don't you break down the rules here for us in overtime in terms of the time and the timeouts?
Yeah, well, each team gets an additional timeout, and I think Gaithersburg had used all of theirs, so they have one timeout now. They'll play for 4 minutes. They'll go with a jump ball, and hopefully at the end of 4 minutes, we'll have a winner for this contest. But this has just been truly a great game by both of these two teams.
Michael Sweetney will jump again with Charles Johnson.
But this Gaithersburg team, they're in it now, and they know they can smell it.
Sweetney controls the tip to Ryan Gorham. Now, James, it'll be interesting to see if Coach Foringer backs off of his pressure defense, because that got him back into the contest. Now that they're tied, will he continue? That time they call the block on Charles Johnson.
But still, this is only their 15th foul.
Exactly.
And I mean, in the first half, they only committed 4 fouls. So that should tell you something about a team like this with seniors, how well they play together on defense. That's a tribute to the coaching staff developing a defensive concept where it really works.
Charlie Sharpe looks to get it inside to Sweetney. This is Hekima Jackson out top for the Clippers. Jackson on the penetration has it knocked out of bounds. Very quick and active hands by the Gaithersburg Trojans, James. That's really been the key to their defensive pressure here in the second half.
Yeah, they're crafty. They know how to attack that ball.
Charlie Sharpe on the penetration, and the senior steps up and drains it. Now, we talked about the senior-laden Gaithersburg ball club. We're seeing the seniors, Charlie Sharpe and Ryan Gorham stepping up for Oxon Hill.
That was a double block there.
That's right. Messrs. Gorham and Sweetney during the honors, and Gaithersburg will retain possession, down by 2. Carlton Marlow back to Mike Ryan. Nice hesitation. Back out top to Marlow. 3 minutes remaining here in overtime of this Maryland 4A state championship that we're proud to bring you as a special presentation of the Roundball Report.
They break it down into where it's a possession game now when you handle the ball the way you handle it.
Dangerous pass to Mike Ryan. Gerard Woods finds Rudolph. Little set shot in the lane, no good. And Sweetney goes up high, battle for the loose ball. Ryan corrals it. Woods finds Charles Johnson. Yes, and it counts. Mike Ryan ties the contest. And for the first time since early in the ball game, early moments of the contest, Mike Ryan will go to the free throw stripe with a chance to put Gaithersburg ahead.
That's a big time play there. And that all went through their relentlessness on the offensive end. They didn't give up on that first shot that they missed.
Ryan can't convert the free throw. We remain tied at 56. Richard Little brings it across for the Clippers. They find Sweetney out high, down low to Sharpe, and he's fouled. Take your pick.
Yeah, he was fouled by about 2 or 3. There's a multiple foul situation there. Let's see who Dave has. Number 32.
That will be Cornell Hawkins. Still only the 16th foul, but he was in the act of shooting. And Charlie Sharpe will go to the free throw line for 2. He calmly converts the first to put the Clippers back out in front by 1.
But that's that senior leadership, that Oxon Hill is relying on now, because the seniors are really stepping up and doing some of the things for the Clippers.
Can't get the second to go. And the ball is knocked out of bounds by Mike Ryan, and the Clippers will retain possession. Much to the chagrin of the Trojan faithful behind us.
Yeah, that's a key possession right now when you're only up by 1.
Sharpe on the penetration. He's stripped by Gerard Woods. Mike Ryan on the breakaway. And he's fouled by Ryan Gorham.
Yeah, that was one of those heads-up plays by the Gaithersburg team where they come up with another steal, Andrew. Again, they're crafty. They put the ball on the floor and near them, and they'll take it from you.
As we saw Billy Lanier with both fingers pointing toward his temples, instructing his team to think.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you shouldn't, just put it back out on the front court. We have a couple of minutes we can set up something and get something positive out of a possession.
Ryan converts the first free throw. That ties the contest back up at 57. Second one up and in, and Gaithersburg has the lead. 58-57. 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in overtime. And Hekima Jackson brings it across for the Clippers. He stops in the lane and drains the jumper. Poise beyond his years shown by that sophomore.
It's defense now for both teams. That's what's going to win this ball game.
Mike Ryan has it out top for the Trojans. Now behind again by 1 at 59-58. A foul called down low on Michael Sweetney. That's going to be his 4th personal foul, and Gaithersburg is in the double bonus.
Personal foul, Michael Sweetney, his 4th.
And James, this is in overtime is where you could begin to see attrition in terms of fouls.
Oh, yeah.
As we see 3 players right now, the 2 seniors, Sharpe and Gorham, as well as the sophomore, Michael Sweetney, with 4 personals.
Definitely,
for the Clippers.
Definitely so. And for the Trojans to play, close to 20 minutes of ball game and not commit, 7 or 8 fouls is unbelievable.
And Charles Johnson ties the contest up as he calmly converts the first free throw.
Oxon Hill being in the double bonus, any foul that they commit, they'll put the Trojans at the line for 2.
Cannot get the second to go. Battle for the loose ball. Little has it on a breakaway. And the little fella takes it coast to coast and puts the Clippers back out in front by 2. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in this contest.
That was speed there. He broke away from those 3 seniors.
That time, Cornell Hawkins showing no signs of fear. Took it right at the big fella. Couldn't get it to go, but he corralled the rebound and a reset for the Trojans.
But this offensive rebounding for the Trojans is what's kept them in this half as well. I know they've done it on the defensive front, but their offensive rebounding has been phenomenal as well.
1 minute remaining in overtime of this Maryland 4A state championship. Gaithersburg with the ball, trails by 2, 61-59. Gerard Woods given the three, he takes it, can't get it to go, and Michael Sweetney corrals the rebound, and he gets it to Richard Little.
It's down to a possession game now.
Over to Hekima Jackson, and he calls timeout. 36.3 seconds remaining in overtime. And James, you said that we've always wanted a game of this magnitude, and as luck would have it, we're here to bring it to the folks via television.
This is truly special for both teams. I mean, it's great to have two teams that's never won a state championship in the 65th year of the tournament being organized in the Maryland State secondary public school system. So for Oxon Hill, I know they've had some tremendous players over there over the years. You know, like such as a player like a Booty Neal who played for Kansas years ago. You had a lot of phenomenal athletes that come out of the Oxon Hill program, and to have them here tonight with a chance to win a state championship, that's really great for the staff and the faculty.
And these young sophomores have really shown gut-written determination and actually wisdom beyond their years. As we said, that may be something to their advantage, James. As I canvass this Cole Fieldhouse, and actually the crowd may be a little bit higher than we anticipated because there's another 1,000 or so fans standing up atop who have decided it's better to watch the game from up high.
Up high, yeah. There's some folks that chose not to even sit down. They're here, though.
But we're here courtside. I want to give special thanks to Ned Sparks of the Maryland State Authority Executive Director for allowing us to bring this broadcast to you. Back to action here, 36.3 seconds to go. Hekima Jackson has possession for the Clippers. He gets it across. Excellent ball movement. There you see senior poise. Ryan Gorham made the official call the contact that time. A little bit of acting, and he was forced to call the personal foul.
Yeah, he set him up on that one. He set him up. But he'll be rewarded by going to the line now. And in all fairness to this Gaithersburg team, they've really shown the folks that they play real strong basketball in Montgomery County. I mean,
this is a one-and-one opportunity for Gorham. Does not get it to go. And Gaithersburg has possession. They can tie or take the lead, and Coach Paul Foringer calls timeout. But James, as you were elaborating, it shows that not only do Baltimore and PG County dominate, but Montgomery County is to be contended as well when you're thinking about state championships.
Definitely so. They're here, through a lot of hard work, and again, it's phenomenal to go 21 or 26-1, only lose one game in a non-conference game to a public school in the District of Columbia, Wilson High. To be here tonight and playing for the big, for all the marbles, it's really tremendous for all of these young men.
As there you can begin to see some of the fine crowd. As it's come down to this, all the sweat, all the practice, all the years, this journey for the seniors of Gaithersburg, a 4-year journey, comes down to 19.1 seconds.
And I know most of us probably don't even want to see this contest come to an end just yet, so we'll have to wait and see.
Johnson on the penetration. He finds Carlton. He finds Cornell Hawkins and the quarterback, that time on the receiving end of the pass.
On a little option play there.
And he ties this ball game up with 6.4 seconds to go. Gotta love it, James.
Yeah, this is tremendous. I mean, with 6.4 seconds and we got a tie ball game, we know that Gaithersburg will probably come out with a little pressure, so they're going to challenge.
And the thing that Gaithersburg has to be wary of for the first time in this second half, they are over the limit, so any foul would send Oxon Hill to the free throw line.
But the thing, Oxon Hill hasn't shot many free throws this whole contest, so, you had Ryan Gore who went there for a 1-and-1 and missed the front end. And when you haven't been at the line, you know there's a little rhythm and confidence, and you might not have it if you haven't been shooting free throws all night long.
And there you see the tension and the anxious moments for the Gaithersburg cheerleaders, as we just a few minutes before had seen, as they're saying that their ball club is #1. They're just about there. 6.4 seconds to go. Possession arrow favors the Trojans should there be a held ball. I'm Andrew Dyer, along with my partner James Holt, bringing you this historic 4A state championship game, the pilot, if you will, voyage of the Roundball Report, bringing you the Maryland State Championship. 6.4 seconds to go. Oxon Hill has possession, and as you suggested, James, Gaithersburg coming out in a full court press. They get it to Sweetney. Little brings it across. 3 seconds to go. He loses possession, launches it towards the hoop. Oh, no, just off the back iron. And it's so nice we're going to have to do it twice. Double overtime.
Double overtime. Oh, man.
Well, James, I was going to say a minute ago, you said this game has been so outstanding you don't want to see it to end, and obviously the young men are heeding your request.
Right. I think everyone is on the edge right now. This is definitely one of the greater games I've seen here, you know, in one of the state championship games. So it's remarkable to have two teams that never won, so you understand what's at stake. They're definitely going at it, and we'll probably have a winner in about 4 minutes after this one out of the bat.
Well, James, I would definitely have to say that coming back from a 16-point deficit heading into the first overtime, the Trojans had the momentum, but I think the actual Clippers may have actually stemmed the tide a little bit, and it's really up for grabs here in the second overtime.
Right, and we know some of the players are probably a little winded now because they actually getting ready to play a second period, you know, because they play 4 minutes. So this is actually going to be the fifth period again, or just the extension of the fourth period.
And also, as I look at the scoreboard, we've got 3 players for Oxon Hill playing with 4 fouls in this second overtime, which is definitely going to have to be a sign of concern for Coach Billy Lanier, namely Charlie Sharpe, Michael Sweetney, and Ryan Gorham, 3 pivotal players, I should say.
Yeah, you got to play heads-up ball now, and with guys with 4 fouls on them, it really puts, you know, in an awkward position because there's guys sitting on the bench that haven't played at all, and you don't want to really put them in a contest where you don't think they'll be able to contribute.
Well, partner, it's still up for grabs. That 4A state championship is up for grabs here in the second overtime here from Cole Fieldhouse. Sweetney controls the tap to Ryan Gorham for Oxon Hill. Charlie Sharpe back out top to Gorham. Jump shot short from just inside the three-point stripe.
That comes sometimes after, like I say, playing for an extension of the fourth period. You get a little weary in the legs there.
As he came up short, hit the front iron. Now it looks like Coach Foringer is going to give his hand at bringing Oxon Hill out of their zone defense as Coach Billy Lanier realizes he has a weary ball club trying to get rest on the defensive end.
Well, with this kind of strategy, though, you're playing into the hands of Oxon Hill. They have 3 guys out there on the court now that have 4 fouls. I mean, let's go at them.
Nonetheless, they do get what they wanted. They bring them out of the zone, and now they're attacking the man-to-man. Mike Ryan gets it back out top to Carlton Marlow. Nice post seal by Nehemiah Rudolph. Sealed off the big fella. Got the entry pass and kissed it off the glass for 2. And Gaithersburg has the first 2 points of the second overtime and a 2-point advantage at 63-61. Hekima Jackson. Pass too strong for Sharpe. Jackson has it out top for 3. Short. No good. And Johnson has the rebound, and it appears that Gaithersburg has momentum on their side.
But this is what seniors will do for you sometimes. They exercise a little bit more poise sometimes, and, you know, that pays off in games like this.
Mike Ryan gets it back out top to Gerard Woods. And he's fouled by Hekima Jackson. The Trojans are in the double bonus.
Well, at this point in time, it might be a good foul. I mean, you know you're going to put a player at the free throw line for 2 shots, but you get a chance to change the momentum and get the ball back in your hands and do some things.
James, we don't have the official second half stats, but Michael Sweetney had 13 first half points. I recall him scoring an early bucket in the second half, but they've really controlled him in the second half, and that's been one of the major keys for Gaithersburg changing the tide in this contest. Remember, they trailed by 16 at halftime.
Yeah, they shut him down. I've only recorded him as only scoring 2 points this half for the whole second half, so
Gerard Woods, the 6'1" senior guard.
And that's a sign of coaching, too. When you make those kind of adjustments and shut down a player who scored like 13 points in one half, and then you limit him to just 2 points in the second half, that says something about, you know, your staff and coaching ability.
It's still a one-possession game as Woods could not convert the second free throw. Charlie Sharpe needs help and calls timeout.
Yeah.
Down to 1 minute and 51 seconds to go, James, and looking at the emotion on the sidelines, you can really see that the Clippers bench is starting to show that they don't feel as positive as they once did about things, but it's a situation of plenty of time. They're within 3 points, which Coach Billy Lanier is going to have to do a psychological selling job to convince his ball club that they still have a chance.
Yeah, motivate them, inspire them that, hey, they're still in the game with 1:51 left. They're only down by 3. It's their possession. I mean, they have an opportunity to score some points and then play good defense and make some other things happen. So it's just a matter of, you know, executing and believing in, you know, the coach's game plan.
Well, James, this game has been all we could ask for and more, and literally so, as we've gotten double overtime here in this 4A state championship. A game that appeared to be within the grasp of the Clippers of Oxon Hill at halftime as they held a 16-point advantage. But this senior-laden Gaithersburg Trojan ball club would not give up without a tremendous fight, in a fight that has earned them not 1, not 2, but 2 overtimes and a 3-point advantage at present at 64-61.
Right. And I see the coach, he's putting his 3 seniors out here now for this last 151. So let's see what they do. See if they step it up. Because they're season tested as well.
And a senior makes a very costly error as Adrian Bryant tried to inbound the ball.
Yeah. That was a tough, you know, role for him to play. He had been on the bench probably for the last 6 minutes, and then to put him in a ball game and ask him to throw the ball in. I mean, you don't expect, you know, him to make those kind of mistakes, but hey, it happened.
As he threw the ball off the back of the glass, a turnover, and Gaithersburg in an unfamiliar position with possession and the lead. Down to 1 minute and 20 seconds to go in the contest. Almost a turnover as Carlton Marlow does have it stolen by Ryan Gorham. And the senior makes his repayment as Adrian Bryant, fresh off of the turnover, converts the basket.
There's
and another steal by Little. Can't get it to go, but he's fouled. That basket does not count. They called a foul before, as Richard Little had made the steal and got fouled.
It's in the grasp of both teams. They both feel it, they both see it, but this is the kind of contest. This is what makes these young men stronger men on the basketball court, being in pressure situations like this.
And these sophomores are seniors at this point in the season, James.
Yeah.
As Coach Paul Foringer of Gaithersburg calls a timeout as he looks to set his defense on this free throw attempt.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more right after this.
In the State Controller's Office, service is our middle name. You can call our office, email your questions to us, or you can stop by any of our 20 local taxpayer service offices and we'll complete your Maryland income tax return free of charge. Just bring along a copy of your completed federal return and your W-2 statements. You can find directions to our offices when you visit our website. Don't delay, file today, and we'll send your refund on its way. Thank you.
And we're back here at Cole Fieldhouse as, yes, that young face has the fate of a 4A state championship in his grasp as the 5'10" sophomore Richard Little is at the free throw line shooting 2 shots as they called the foul in the act.
Yeah, these are big time shots here too, so let's see what the young man does.
You see the concentration in his eyes. He rattles the first one home and we are tied.
Oh my goodness. This is what the state playoffs are all about, having the 2 best teams play.
And Little is as big as they come at this point, puts his team in the lead, and they're going with full court pressure. Yeah. And another timeout called by Gaithersburg.
You got to love that pressure that the Oxon Hill team just put on them, though, because it forced them into a timeout that I know the coaching staff didn't want to have to use if they didn't have to.
And, James, the one disadvantage we have is we're at the opposite side of the official scores table because we don't know. I was wondering what their timeout situation is for Gaithersburg.
I think now that the clocks have them as 0-0, nobody has timeouts at all now.
Good eyes by my partner as we do have the fine amenities at Cole Fieldhouse. All the stats right at a eye link. As James, as we said, this has been all you can ask for and more. Double overtime. Oxon Hill, when it appeared, as we said, off of that last time out, as we see the reset, 65-64. Oxon Hill, the Clippers with a 1-point advantage. And Coach Billy Lanier, as we said, at that last time out, it appeared as the troops thought that it might be all lost, trailing by 3. But obviously, we talked about he was going to have to do a major selling job, and judging by how they responded, he was successful.
Well, you can see why the swagger of the players from the Clippers now, they look like they have some confidence out there, like they can pull this thing off. And I mean, just some of the posturing that they're doing, we'll see how it works out on the defensive end.
Play back in. They get it to Gerard Woods. He finds Mike Ryan. Beautiful pass to Charles Johnson. And just as he drew it up, Gaithersburg has the lead again, down to 40 seconds to go. This is Adrian Bryant. They're trying to get it across. Richard Little just beats the 10 count. 35 seconds to go. Little finds Charlie Sharpe. Dangerous pass, and an offensive foul is called on Michael Sweetney. Double jeopardy for the Clippers is not only will that send Charles Johnson to the free throw line, but it will send Michael Sweetney to the bench with his 5th personal foul.
Yeah, that's a tough foul there. I mean, I didn't see what happened, and unfortunately we don't have a replay just to look at that right now. But I'm willing to bet that, you know, that was just, you know, a player going for a ball, and I don't, in my opinion, I can't really make a decision, but it's a tough call for anybody to make at this point in time of a ball game.
As we see an incensed Coach Billy Lanier on the sideline since Hekima Jackson into the contest to replace Michael Sweetney. As you mentioned, James, a very questionable call. It was a pass inside to the low post for Michael Sweetney. I thought initially the foul was going to be called on Johnson. It looked like Sweetney had established good position.
Yeah.
Didn't really see him push off, but he was called for an offensive foul.
I think most of his fouls that he's had, it never was for him going up to get a ball. So to have a double overtime period and have a call made like that at this juncture in the game is questionable.
Nonetheless, it was made, and Charles Johnson to the free throw stripe for Gaithersburg with a chance to put his team ahead by 2 or 3 if he converts a pair. Senior came up short on that first one, James. Ball getting a little bit heavy right now, even for a senior.
Yeah. Being out on the court, playing the whole ball game, it wears you down. So let's see if he can finish this one off here. This game still has potential to go for another
overtime. As that stretches the advantage back to 2. Charlie Sharpe looking for help. And they get it into the hands of Hekima Jackson, a very creative offensive threat. Jackson out top. And now they call the personal foul on on Cornell Hawkins.
Now, that was a little touch foul, and I'm willing to bet now what happened on the last foul where it was, but sometimes this is where they kind of make up for.
And I've got to give you credit, partners. Normally, we all in the announcing business realize that happens, but very rarely do we get an official to admit it. But we've seen much more contact than that let go by the wayside. And now it sends Hekima Jackson to the free throw line, shooting 1 and 1. And the sophomore drains the first. That cuts the deficit back to 1. He has an opportunity to tie. As the official has a discussion with Jackson. Could not tell from here what it was about.
Well, I think Jackson tossed the ball to number 34, Nehemiah Rudolph, as opposed to tossing it back to the official after a made basket.
A little gamesmanship. Rebound by Charlie Sharpe. He can't get it to go, but he's fouled with 16.1 seconds to go.
Well, that's senior leadership out there to go up and get a rebound like that and have the presence of mind to go back up with it for 2. So,
what a ball game. This 4A state championship is still up for grabs after 4 quarters and 2 overtimes. Just about complete. 16.1 seconds to go. Senior Charlie Sharpe will go to the free throw line looking to tie this ball game up. And he calmly drains the first free throw.
Boy,
this is the one for the money.
Yeah, this is the big one.
No good. Ryan Gorham with the rebound. It's knocked out of bounds. And possession is given to Gaithersburg.
Well, that was the thing where, Ryan Gorham had the rebound. All he had to do was bring it back out. They had the ball. They had the possession.
Both teams out of timeouts. 14 seconds to go. Full court pressure by the Clippers. Nehemiah Rudolph gets it across. Gerard Woods on the penetration. No good. Loose ball, battle. Nope. And we're going. It's been so nice. We're going to have to do it 3 times.
Oh.
We're going to triple overtime.
Unbelievable.
And we see the officials in disbelief. Right now, we talked about the fact that we're only working with 2 officials, and these guys, do they get double time?
No, they just get 1 game fee for this contest, and that's it. They probably deserve more, but hey, that's all they get is 1.
Oh, my goodness. We've certainly got more than we bargained for. What a ball game. Oxon Hill and Gaithersburg a battle to the death. This time, James, all the cliches apply. There are no losers at this point, but obviously both of these teams, one of these teams is going to leave disheartened, but they have no reason to do so. They've given it all they have and more.
Now, I don't think anyone would have predicted this, to have 3 overtimes in a championship game of this caliber. But hey, Andrew, I'm glad I'm here to work with you tonight and all the crew that's working with us, because this is a great contest.
Namely, Rudy Childs, as well as Adam Alpern, Rob Williams, Jerome Rivers, and David Barnes, along with myself, Andrew Dyer, my partner, James Holt, proud to bring you this 4A state championship game as a special presentation of the Roundball Report in conjunction with Community Television of Prince George's County. Special thanks to Ned Sparks of the Maryland State Basketball Authority for making this possible, and as well as Sherry Byrne, Executive Director, and Robert Berry, Director of Operations at CTV. Well, James, 4 more minutes to decide this brawl for it all, the Maryland 4A State Championship.
This is what it's all about.
With Sweetney fouled out, Charlie Sharpe will jump center for the Clippers against Charles Johnson. And as been the case with each jump ball, the Clippers retain possession. Hekima Jackson, this sophomore, extremely confident. He has a baby face, but he has the heart and competitive nature of a lion.
Most definitely. And too, Andrew, we talk about the fatigue of the players, but sometimes it's a little weary on the officials too. I mean, when you've been out here for a contest of this magnitude, running up and down the court, you tend to start to make some calls, early on that you didn't make, because of, fatigue. I've been there. I know what it's like. So we'll see how the calls play out in this period here, this extension of the fourth period.
And Hekima Jackson puts the Clippers back out in front with that first free throw.
You see Charlie Sharpe, kneeling down in center court. So that should just give you the indication of what all these young men have put out on the court, the effort that they put out here on the court.
They're giving it everything they have. And I know John Lewis, the director and founder of the Maryland Stallions, is a very proud man right now. The program of which Hekima Jackson is a graduate of.
Yeah, I know John very well, and he's been a role model citizen in the county for all the young men who play basketball.
Mike Ryan on the penetration, can't get the floater to go. Charlie Sharpe battles for the rebound, keeps it alive, and Hekima Jackson grabs it, but he's called for traveling.
Like I say, it all comes down to execution and focus now at this point in time. And it's so tough, but you get rebounds like that, you just have to exercise a little more patience.
Mike Ryan on the penetration, and he gets the finger roll to go down, and Gaithersburg regains the lead. Hekima Jackson brings it the other way. He takes it coast to coast, and off the glass and in for two.
Oh, yeah.
Hekima Jackson takes it all the way. You could see his eyes were focused on nothing but that rim. And Oxon Hill back out in front by one.
He just attacked the hoop, but there it goes back again.
And Mike Ryan right back at you. Back and forth we go. Gaithersburg back out in front by one. Hekima Jackson. Nice pass to Charlie Sharpe. And the Clippers back out in front, 72-71. Oh, my goodness. Mike Ryan the other way. Back to Charlie Johnson, and it's a layup drill. Here comes Hekima Jackson. Does he have anything left in the tank, James?
This pace is going to work to the disadvantage.
Jackson with the crossover, stop and pop. Can't get it to go, but he's fouled. Oh, my goodness. This sophomore is growing up right before our eyes.
Well, you can look at all the young men out there, Andrew. They're huffing and puffing. Just, the past three transitions, their guys are running up and down the court.
Hekima Jackson.
Let's see what Hekima does at the line.
This 6'1", 10th grader, folks. Yes, I stress 10th grader. Showing that he is ready for the task here. Taking it coast to coast, putting this Oxon Hill Clipper team on his back.
All these young men are breathing hard, slouched over.
But he had enough energy to drain that free throw, and we're tied again at 73. Jackson eyes the front iron. Hits the front iron. Rebound by Mike Ryan.
We got a tie ball game again, folks.
2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in triple overtime for the Maryland 4A state championship. It's the first time in several trips to Gaithersburg that had to face a half-court defense, Jane.
Yeah, they're playing a little junk defense. Okay.
Double tick off of Mike Ryan, and possession goes back over to the Clippers.
That's, again, playing in a game like this for this length of time, those are the passes usually a player like that would look in and catch, but when you're tired, sometimes you're just not mentally focused.
Spot possession for Adrian Bryant. He gets it to Hekima Jackson, no call. Jackson looking to go all the way. He finds Gorham, who pulls it back out for the Clippers.
That's senior leadership there now, knowing what's at stake.
This is Richard Little out top. He finds Gorham.
You got a double team, there's an open person.
And he finds that open person. Bryant over to Charlie Sharpe. Drop step, penetrate, floater, can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound, controlled by Ryan Gorham. Down to 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. Gorham looks like he wants to take his defender. He does. Pulls up in the lane. Can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Excellent call.
Yeah.
Excellent Johnson.
Call. Yeah.
We had the perfect angle for that, James.
Yeah. He cleared the man out with his lower body. I mean, that call wasn't even questionable.
As we had the perfect angle for that foul.
We got Adrian Adrian Bryant. And that call was made by George Pinchback. He's a collegiate official too, other than just, at the high school level. He works with the CIAA, Andrew, just in case we got some guys out there.
And Adrian Bryant makes the free throw. That puts the Clippers back out in front by 1. 74-73. We are in the third extra session here at Cole Fieldhouse. Short. And Charles Johnson corrals the rebound. That was the 4th personal on Charles Johnson. He has to be careful. We're down to 1 minute and 2 seconds remaining in our third overtime period. Gaithersburg with possession, trailing by 1 at 74-73.
Charles Johnson asking for the ball down low.
Nehemiah Rudolph can't get it to go. Rebound by Ryan Gorham. He gets it to Richard Little.
They got a double team.
He splits the double team pass too long. Tremendous hustle by Adrian Bryant as Mike Ryan attempted to let that ball go out of bounds. Both teams with 1 timeout. You get an extra timeout per overtime.
Right. That was one where I think the coach probably would have preferred him to use that timeout as opposed to throw an errant pass.
Nonetheless, Gaithersburg has possession. They trail by 1. As you see that both teams, James, are just playing on pure guts right now. Nehemiah Rudolph can't get it to go. Gorham corrals the rebound. And this time the senior keeps possession himself and is fouled.
Let's see what Ryan does at the line. The last couple of times he was at the line, he missed some of those charity stripes.
Ryan Gorham, fatigue, exhausted Ryan Gorham. But Billy Lanier looks like he could go a few more rounds, James.
Yes, indeed. He's going at it.
A crazed bulldog, Billy Lanier. Ryan Gorham at the free throw line for a pair, and he converts the first. James, he's definitely on the reserve tank right now.
Yeah, this is all reserve, I think, for all these young men out here on the court now. And some of the fans in the stand.
Short on the third, but
Sharpe.
Rebound by Charlie Sharpe, and he's fouled, and the seniors are stepping up big time for the Clippers.
That's the second time that he's went up and got an offensive rebound on a missed free throw, but this time he had the presence of mind to hold on to it.
And James, it's a situation we're talking about the signs of fatigue. The players have really been using the free throws as a chance to get rest, but it's hurt Gaithersburg. They really have not been prepared for the misses in overtime.
Right. They haven't blocked out, and that's the key of fatigue setting in when you don't block out.
And we see Charlie Sharpe has absolutely nothing left in his tank right now. But he needs this free throw to make it a three-point ball game. And he does. 18.4 seconds remaining. 1 timeout left for Gaithersburg.
Still, oh no.
Battle for the loose ball. Marlow to Johnson. They've got to try for a 3, and they call timeout with 6.6 seconds to go, James.
Oh, yeah, with 6.6 seconds.
We need to look at the record books because the way this ball game has gone, I'm not betting against a three-pointer to send it to a 4th overtime.
Hey, I wouldn't dispute it. I don't think anyone is ready to go home just yet on a Saturday night.
I tell you, James, this is just another example that March Madness is not only on the collegiate level, but it's definitely at the high school level as well.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was definitely getting ready to make a fact about March Madness, and this is what basketball is all about. And folks wonder, well, what is this thing about March Madness sometimes? Well, hey, folks, this is what it is.
This has been a maddening experience for all in attendance, but none that I'm sure that we would ever trade the places for. I'm certainly pleased to be here again, able to bring you this as a special presentation of the Roundball Report in conjunction with Community Television of Prince George's, our crack staff of Rudy Childs, Adam Alpern, Rob Williams, David Barnes, and Jerome Rivers. I'm Andrew Dyer, along with my partner James Holt, as we see the statistical table. They had to work and concentrate for 6 periods. Actually, we're in the 7th now.
Yeah.
and 6.6 seconds away from a potential 8th. As we see the Oxon Hill Clippers, they are definitely as one at this point.
Boy, the crowd here is massive, man. Look.
There you see 76-73, 6.6 seconds to go in triple overtime.
And you got the Oxon Hill pep band in the background, too.
You know, it'll be interesting to see if the Clippers decide to foul here. Johnson for 3, off the back iron, battle for the loose ball. Launch at the buzzer. Hawkins with the desperation three-pointer off the glass. And we're going to a 4th overtime. Oh, my goodness. The Gaithersburg team is in disbelief as the quarterback, Cornell Hawkins, got the rebound. He looked up at the clock, turned around, and heaved it with all his might, threw the long bomb, if you will. It kissed off the glass.
And it's good.
And home.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, words can't describe the emotion, the pageantry. This is March Madness in a capsule, James.
Like you say, with this being the 4th overtime, there are no losers in this kind of game. You know, either way you look at it, you know you're going to have someone that's going to fall short of the glory. But in the end, when you weigh it all out, there's no losers in a game like this because these young men have showcased what high school basketball is all about right here.
And James, they'll have epic stories to tell, even if their basketball careers don't go beyond the high school level. They can always harken back to the Maryland 4A state championship game of 1998 and tell their grandchildren about this one.
Because it's going to be the first championship for either team, so who either wins, it'll be their first. With 4 overtimes, hey, that's a story to tell.
It sounds like your voice is kind of giving out on you right now. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. As we're ready for quarter number 8.
Hey, this is actually the 6th period now. You know,
right, in terms of minutes. But the 8th session. 4th overtime for the Maryland 4A state championship. And James, given it's 4A, maybe this will be the one that decides it. Re-jump.
It's a good call.
Charlie Sharpe and Charles Johnson, and for the first time in this ball game, Gaithersburg has possession, and they have to have momentum on their side after that miracle shot by Cornell Hawkins.
Definitely. You just got to lead, stay focused now. That's off blue.
As James, your official buddy, gave that signal with emphasis in case he heard you say if it was off blue.
It was last touched by blue. The replay will show it. I'm willing to bet.
But Mike Ryan looks to inbound.
But those are split decisions that referees make, in all the contests.
Steal by Ryan Gorham, and the senior converts the free throw as Mike Ryan was perilously close to a backcourt situation. Threw it in desperation. It was stolen by Gorham, and he takes it coast to coast for the first 2 points of the 4th extra session and give the Clippers a 78-76 advantage.
It's all about ball control now.
Mike Ryan, and actually, James, I was just going to say before that easy inside conversion with Sweetney out of the contest, the matchups have actually been better on the perimeter for Oxon Hill, but that time Charles Johnson takes it down low and ties the ball game up. Hekima Jackson.
I know John has got to be proud of this young man, Andrews. He's definitely got to be proud of him.
Without a doubt, as well as Miss Jack and all the fine members of the Maryland Stallions. They are to be commended for their efforts as exemplified in the results in Hekima Jackson. Cornell Hawkins takes it to the hole for 2.
Well, he stepped it up to that next level, too. He's a senior. He's been there. He's been in some gutsy games as a quarterback, so he knows what it's about being a leader on the court.
Hekima Jackson sets the offense for the Clippers. We're tied again at 80 in the 4th overtime. Inside to Charlie Sharpe. Can't get it to go. Loose ball foul on Sharpe. And that will be his 5th personal foul. He certainly has nothing to be ashamed of. He's given it everything he's had and more, James.
Critical play there, yeah.
Now they'll get taller.
They'll get taller, but a young man has been sitting on the bench for like the last 4 overtime periods. So we'll have to see how he makes this adjustment, because when you've been sitting down for a long time, it takes you a little while to get into the flow. But with 2 minutes left, he's got to be ready to come out and produce right now.
Namely, Ronald Miller checks in. Mike Ryan at the free throw line can't get it to go. And James, all of these young men are playing on adrenaline right now, and it takes extra effort when your body's at rest at the free throw line to summon up the energy to get it down. As Ryan does, that puts the Trojans back out in front by 1 at 81-80. 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in our 4th extra session here in the Maryland 4A state championship game. 4th overtime from Cole Fieldhouse. Ryan Gorham thinks about the 3, decides not.
Well, it gives them a different look, though. They got a bigger player in there, something that they hadn't had in a while. So
Gorham in the lane. Can't get it to go. Big rebound by Gerard Woods. And the Trojans have possession and a 1-point advantage. Carlton Marlow out to Mike Ryan. Loose ball gathered by Marlow, as the fans let him know he had Richard Little coming from behind.
Someone coming in hot pursuit from behind. It's good to have that 6th man in the stands sometimes.
As the Trojans play keep away. Dangerous move with this much time on the clock. As a kickball is called on Ronald Miller. And the Trojans will keep possession. They're going to get the big fella out, as Coach Billy Lanier wants to have a quick team to chase the Gaithersburg Trojans around, as he feels they're going to try to milk the clock with a 1-point advantage and 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining in overtime. And they fall asleep. Oh, and it comes out. And a loose ball foul goes the other way. Oh, my goodness.
You know, that ball was in there for at least a half a second, Andrew.
As Gerard Woods caught the Clippers falling asleep on the inbounds and could not get it to go down.
Who do we have at the free throw line? Okay.
Looks like it's going to be the senior, Ryan Gorham.
Well, both teams in a double bonus now. Also, Andrew, I got word today that the ladies from Suitland High won the 4A championship this afternoon up at the University of Baltimore County. So congratulations to the Suitland Rams from Suitland High School.
I second that emotion, as Ryan Gorham has tied this game up again. This time at 81. And the Clippers are back out in front.
They're up by 1 with 1 minute left.
Full court zone pressure. Adrian Bryant at the key. Nehemiah Rudolph looks down low for Johnson. Mike Ryan on the penetration, can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound, up. And it goes over to the Clippers, who have possession and a 1-point advantage with 45.4 seconds to go. And Billy Lanier calls timeout.
Well, it's that defensive pressure now. We definitely got to see what type of defensive setup that the Gaithersburg Trojans employ this time.
And Coach Billy Lanier, James, he's accumulated timeouts in the overtime. He did not use his one from the previous session, had 2. This time he calls a timeout, and it leaves his team with 1, as we see the Clipper band. James, hey, if they've got enough energy to blow the horn for 8 quarters, I think I have enough voice left to finish this one out.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
As you see, 45.4 seconds to go. What you don't see is this is the 4th overtime session of this Maryland 4A, fittingly so, state championship.
These young men have played their hearts out. I mean, everyone is definitely going to walk away with a great experience from this game here.
As we see, the fans are still trying to give it what they have left. this has definitely been an emotional roller coaster for everyone throughout this ball game. The tide has turned too times to count, too many times to count.
We've had several lead changes in this second half, a few ties. I mean, it's a lot of lead changes, and definitely we're looking at a game that's going to go down to the wire.
Hekima Jackson with the all-important inbounds play for the Clippers. And he gets it in. They've got extra ball handlers as Jason Jackson looks to bring it across. He finds Richard Little. They're playing keep away right now in the hands of Hekima Jackson. Adrian Bryant, the senior with the floater, can't get it to go. Battle for the loose ball. Gerard Woods has it, and a personal foul is called. Jason Jackson with the desperation reach-in foul Gerard Woods, and he'll go to the stripe with a chance to tie the contest or put the Trojans back out in front should he convert a pair.
That's that senior leadership. He went to the hoop strong, meaning Adrian Bryant, and just pulled up a little short, didn't fall, but you have to applaud a man to go, that had a heart to go to the hoop like that.
Gerard Woods at the stripe. And he ties this ball game up. Now, James, this free throw, all important, can not only decide the contest, but decide whether or not there's a chance for a fifth overtime.
Most definitely. So we'll see. Hopefully, we'll have a made basket.
And the Trojans back out in front. Hekima Jackson, James, I look for him to keep the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he's had a few.
He's got to get it across. And they double team Jackson to get it out of his hands. And Bryant, the senior, loses the pass, and it goes out of bounds. Oh, my.
That's crucial.
Costly turnover by Adrian Bryant.
2 miscues in the last 40 seconds for that young man there.
Well, actually, one was just a missed shot.
Right.
They get it in, and Adrian Bryant fouls Nehemiah Rudolph. And Rudolph will go back to the free throw stripe. Excellent defensive effort by Paul Foringer's Gaithersburg Trojans, James, as everyone in the gymnasium knew that given a chance, Hekima Jackson was going to keep that possession and take the last shot. But they forced the double team. He was forced to pass to Adrian Bryant, who fell asleep.
Yeah.
Turned it over, and now here we are with Nehemiah Rudolph shooting 2. No good. He'll have one more opportunity as the tension mounts.
Oh, yes.
as our friend next to us at the scores table holds up a full hand, signifying 5 overtime.
5 overtime. There's room for one more, though. We could have a fifth.
As we have a discussion at the scores table, I think they're talking about the substitution, whether or not time went out to allow a substitution. And, James, I'll get your insight. Does a free throw shot count as time being elapsed for a substitution? If the question is, if they substitute a player before the first free throw, could he come in after the second?
No, time has to run off the clock. A second has to run off the clock for him to come back in the game.
There it is. Use all the insight we have at our resources as Nehemiah Rudolph tries to summon from wherever he can. It'll probably be from outside of his body at this point, the energy left. And this discussion is providing him a very needed respite to give him the energy to perhaps convert this free throw, James.
This play sometimes it kind of ices the player, too. He's been at the free throw line waiting for the last 10 or 15 seconds, waiting to find out what's going on.
And now he has possession. Rudolph concentrates, sends it up there, no good. Battle for the loose ball, and Hekima Jackson has it, and he's fouled. Yeah. I was waiting to see if there was going to be a travel or a personal foul, and now Hekima Jackson will go to the free throw line.
Just a little over-aggressiveness by the Gaithersburg team. He had the possession. I mean, a little contact, but it knocked the guy down on the floor. He's at a disadvantage, so...
Again, even if the official wanted to let that contact go, when it's forced in a situation where either a foul or a turnover, he had to make the foul call.
Yeah. I mean, those are split decisions that we have to make as officials. So, you know, these guys are doing a tremendous job out here officiating tonight.
Hekima Jackson at the free throw stripe. And he ties this ball game up. And here comes the miracle worker. Cornell Hawkins checks back into the contest. He of the three-pointer at the buzzer off the glass from 10 feet behind the arc, which earned us this fourth overtime.
Well, it goes down to like the last possession now with this type of contest.
No good. Battle for the loose ball. Johnson has it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're going 5 overtime.
Oh, my God. A fifth one. Will we have a winner tonight, Andrew? Will we have a winner?
What is this, quintuple overtimes? I don't know if I've ever heard that term used. And James, I think we're going to have to work overtime on this, and we'll be back right after this.
Strong neighborhoods are the foundation for building rewarding lives for our children. Hello, I'm Governor Paris Glendenning. As part of our new Smart Growth program in Maryland, we are sponsoring innovative programs that assist home buyers and small business owners. If you buy a home or start a business in a community just like this, you could qualify for thousands of dollars in tax credits or other financial assistance. Call this number and find out how we can grow smart together.
And we're back for overtime number 5, James. We were debating the term. I believe it's quintuple. I don't know if it's ever been used before, but this is the 5th overtime nonetheless for this 4A state championship contest.
Play-by-play, yes. 5 overtimes. It's a well-deserved 5th overtime for both of these teams. It says a lot about their programs and how important winning a state championship is to both of them.
And for the second consecutive time, Gaithersburg controls the tip. We're tied at 83 in overtime number 5. Yes, overtime number 5. Period number 9 in this Maryland 4A state championship. And a traveling violation called on Charles Johnson. And James, these two officials are to be commended, George Pinchak and Dave Cross, to provide their names. They've a two-man officiating crew, as we talked about, a subject for debate, but nonetheless, these two guys have done a commendable job.
Definitely. To be here for a 5th overtime period and make the kind of calls that they've had to make on split decisions, hey, they've done a tremendous job. Great work, guys. But at this level, when you get into championship games, it makes officiating so much easier anyway.
Hekima Jackson for 3.
With some of these young men, they can play all night long, as you know, Andrew. Working with some of the other programs in the county, we know how they can play till the wee hours of the morning.
Without a doubt, and Hekima Jackson showing that he still has plenty left in his tank. Mike Ryan comes up short, and Oxon Hill has the rebound, and this is Jaquan Wallace in. And Hekima Jackson showing that he's not tired. Ryan Gorham fakes the 3. He takes the 3. Can't get it to go. And Mike Ryan for the rebound. That would have been a big 3 had he nailed that one.
Right. And you know, you second guess sometimes when you have a player take a shot like that when you already have a 3-point lead, knowing that there's a lot at stake still.
But you've got to admire the guts. He was trying to go for the nail in the coffin, because that's one thing we really haven't seen as much separation in either of these overtime periods, James. Cornell Hawkins responds.
Like I say, Cornell has been on some state championship teams on the football level, so he knows what it's like to be in pressure situations.
Oxon Hill with a 1-point advantage and possession. Richard Little finds Hekima Jackson in and out. Rebound to Gerard Woods. No call.
Good no call.
Mike Ryan, he finds Cornell Hawkins, and a block is called.
That's his 5th, Andrew.
It's on Hekima Jackson. We'll wait to see. And they're holding up 5. And Hekima has to be restrained. Do not want to get a technical foul of this situation. And he gets a richly deserved round of applause. from the Oxon Hill faithful. And Hawkins will shoot a pair.
We'll see how that plays out with Oxon Hill losing one of their better players in the front court with 150 left in the contest.
And Cornell Hawkins, the senior, calmly converts the first to tie this ball game. He misses the second. Rebound by Gerard Woods. Oh! Ronald Miller, the 6'7" sophomore center, looked like he had a clean block, but he was called for the personal foul. And we saw referee George Penjack give that all-important stare to Jason Jackson to let him know, I will have none of that, young man.
Yeah.
And Woods will be at the free throw line to shoot a pair.
Yeah, he's explaining to the players how he committed the foul. So.
Oh, and he gets the crier. Gerard Woods puts his ball club back out in front by 1 at 87-86. In this epic battle for the 4A state championship. No good. Charles Johnson with the rebound and put back. And the Trojans have a three-point advantage. This is Jaquan Wallace. He gets it over to Jason Jackson. Now, where would they look for offense? With Hekima Jackson fouled out, and Cornell Hawkins called for the personal foul.
Well, you're putting guys at the free throw line when you got a three-point lead. You really don't have to, guys, but, you know, that's just the over-aggressiveness that they're playing. But defense is what's got them here. That's why they're in the lead right now.
As Coach Foringer has taken Hawkins out to ask exactly that, as he tells his quarterback why. And now, James, this is one player, Jason Jackson, who really didn't come into the fray till deep into the contest, who may have enough energy left to convert these free throws.
Yeah, and he's a ninth grader at that. So, hey, to make two big free throws.
And that cuts the deficit back to 1. Gerard Woods splits the trap, and he finds Mike Ryan. All-out pressure by the Clippers.
It's all about ball control now for these Trojans.
Rudolph to Woods. Rudolph won the penetration. Playing a game of keep away right now. 1 minute and 5 seconds to go in our 5th overtime. Woods to Johnson on the lob, and it goes. And the Trojans have a three-point advantage and another foul. And that's going to be the 5th personal on Gerard Woods. And Paul Foringer is totally dismayed, cannot believe that his senior would commit a foul.
Yeah, because you're keeping them in the ball game by making fouls now when you got a three-point lead. I mean, I know they're aggressive and they're going after the ball because that's what got them where they're at, is playing tough defense. But you got to learn how to pull up and just let the play come to you as opposed to forcing things.
As we see, a very disheartened Gerard Woods takes his final seat for the night. As now Coach Paul Foringer takes time to talk to his senior to explain to him what the situation was. Richard Little, the little big man, goes to the free throw stripe for 2. Off the back iron. Julian Payton checks into the contest as Coach Billy Lanier forced to go deep into his bench. Little has one more opportunity. And he drains it, a 2-point ball game.
You can see the weariness on the players because the
Marlow.
defense.
Ryan takes it to the hole, finds Johnson, and it goes, and he's fouled. Charles Johnson, the 6'4" senior, with his 3rd consecutive basket in the low post. With the absence of a low post presence, Michael Sweetney long ago departed with 5 fouls, and Ronald Miller out of the contest for defensive pressure. That time, Charles Johnson makes them pay for the 3rd consecutive trip.
And losing those key interior players also, Charlie Sharpe. I mean, you know, those were, you know, the main ingredients that, you know, help Oxon Hill get to where they're at, and have them young men sitting on the bench and have to put some players with a little bit the experience level. Just isn't there now.
The height, the energy, the experience, everything is just about gone for the Clippers, but they've given it all they have. Is right now they look to pressure the ball, down by 4, and they get the steal. Richard Little takes the 3. That's going to come up short. And a loose ball foul on Mike Ryan.
Yeah, excellent call. He had the position and everything. He probably would have got that rebound, not knowing what he would have did with it after that, but hey.
That's only the 4th personal on Mike Ryan. That will send Ronald Miller, the 6'7" sophomore, to the free throw stripe. If they have any chance, James, he needs to convert these. And he trains it. I tell you, these kids are poised beyond their years, to say the least. And that you have to credit that man right there, Billy Lanier, for getting these sophomores ready to tackle anything that comes their way. And he gets them both. Are we going to go for 6?
Well, 24, hey, I won't rule it out. I mean, it would be much.
Timeout on the court.
I'm running out of fingers. Yeah.
93-91 in overtime, number 5 for the Maryland 4A state championship.
A 5th overtime. This has definitely been a treat. And then if you look up on the clock, they got the 9th period, Andrew.
And that's technically what it is. The 4 8-minute quarters and 5 4-minute quarters. And it's not over until we have a winner. We'll be here all night if we have to. There we see, James, a situation where the fans don't even have enough energy left, as we see only a portion of the Gaithersburg supporters yelling their approval.
They're still here, though.
And that's to their credit, James. They have remained.
In about 24 seconds or so, we might have a 4A champion.
Yet to be decided.
Let's see what the Oxon Hill team does with this press. I know they're going to try to come up with a quick steal and force something to happen real quick.
Carlton Marlow brings it across, and the foul is called. Was a good foul called on number 33, Julian Payton, for the Clippers, his 2nd personal foul.
That was a good foul with 18 seconds or 18.9 seconds, because it does give the Oxon Hill Clippers a chance to get the possession or get the ball back.
Cornell Hawkins checks back into the game for the Trojans. Carlton Marlow with the stripe for 2. He takes his time and rattles the first one home. James, this is the one for the money. In and out. Mike Ryan with the rebound, and he puts it back up and in, and that may be the final nail as they steal the inbounds pass. And Mike Ryan, the senior, grabbed the offensive rebound, turned and hit the jump shot in the lane, and that will be the final nail in the coffin. It took 9 periods to make it happen, but it looks as if the Trojans of Gaithersburg are going to earn a 4A state championship in 9 periods. Seamus Hunt at the free throw line for the Trojans. Can't get it to go.
That's a strong offensive rebound by Mike Ryan in the waning seconds of that missed free throw. Big time play. Mike Ryan definitely has that potential to play at the next level too.
No good.
Big time.
There was a mix-up. Coach Billy Lanier was signaling for a timeout after they got it across half court. But his young sophomore center, Ronald Miller, called timeout as soon as he corralled the rebound. James, they need 5 points in 9.6 seconds. Ordinarily, I would say chances are pretty slim, but with what's happened throughout this contest, I'm going to hold off on that one. It's still up for grabs.
It's still up for yeah. We'll see what they do. I mean, I know they got to score real quick, and I'm willing to bet that Gaithersburg will probably not even challenge them.
At this point, as we see the athletic director for Oxon Hill over there, as we look at the cheerleaders for Gaithersburg, but the athletic director, extremely proud athletic director, is over there consoling her ball club.
And you see the senior over there, Charlie Sharpe, he's pretty emotional right now, so you know that's going to be his last.
As we see the Trojans, the Trojanettes realizing that they are
knowing that
just seconds away from a championship.
Yeah, this is tough, though. We do have to remember that these are young men, 18, 17, 16 years of age, so.
Richard Little brings it across, down to 5 seconds. He launches the three, no good. Battle for the loose ball, and Cornell Hawkins, how fittingly is that, as Cornell Hawkins grabs the rebound, and it's pandemonium here as the Trojans of Gaithersburg have captured the Maryland 4A state championship by a final score of 96-91. Oh my goodness, James. But as we said, there you see the euphoria, but in March Madness, there is the story on the other end, the Clippers of Oxon Hill. But an epic battle. There had to be a winner. It took 9 periods to make it happen, and we see a very happy Coach Paul Foringer has captured a championship of the Maryland 4A state.
Well, again, you have no losers in this kind of contest. Well, we naturally know that the score indicates that Gaithersburg came out the winner and they were victorious, but hey, this is probably one of the greatest high school games I've seen in this tournament in some time.
Without a doubt, as we see some of the hysteria as the Gaithersburg Trojans still have enough energy to celebrate after 9 periods.
And it's just trying to share with these young men from Oxon Hill the good. You know, even though they didn't come out victorious, there's some merit out of this type of game. So don't ever give up. I mean, it's just one ball game. They still have a lot of basketball ahead of them.
And character is the lesson that has been gained by both of these ball clubs. Even though we said that Gaithersburg, a senior-laden ball club, 11 seniors, they're going to carry lessons from this epic battle that will carry them on for years to come.
And they have stories to tell. I mean, these will be great stories for them to tell at the barbershops in the years to come about how they played 5 overtimes and won a state championship.
Well, James, this pandemonium here, I'm just honored and privileged to have been a part of history in the standpoint that we hope to be forging a relationship with the Maryland States. As we see, this type of ball has not been broadcast in the past to this magnitude, and hopefully we can get together with Ned Sparks and his folks and make this a thing of the future.
Yeah, hopefully we will get a chance to, partnership with the, Maryland Public School System and be able to do this kind of telecast in the years to come, because it's definitely worth the while. And I mean, to have 5 overtimes just tells you what type of ball. I mean, we didn't even get the other contests that were played here today. So this is just the treat right here just to have this one.
This was the coup de grace, the last contest of the night for the Maryland 4A State Championship. It took 9 periods, and as we said, you can see the Oxon Hill Ball Club coming out to get their consolation trophies, but there is no consolation for these young men at this point. But in the future, they'll learn that they gave a battle that all of us will remember for quite some time.
Right. The principal, Mr. David Stouffer, he's handing out the awards to the players and giving them hugs and things. He's been a tremendous administrator in the public school system over the number of years. He was over at Bladensburg when they had a few championship teams. So wherever he's at, he's always done remarkable things with the student athlete, which is a tribute to his leadership and staff. So great job to the Oxon Hill faculty on the work with these young men.
As we see a very tearful group As Charlie Sharpe, the seniors taking this loss the hardest because this was their last opportunity. Namely Charlie Sharpe, Adrian Bryant, and Ryan Gorham.
Well, for the returning players, see, they have something to build on now because now they have the experience. They know what's at stake when you get in a contest like this. And there was just some things there in the end where you got to have that killer instinct and know how to close. Well, with this Gaithersburg team senior leadership, they've played 90, over 100 and some odd ball games. They never gave up. Even when they were down by 16, they never gave up. They knew that they've been in situations like this before, and they always found a way to scratch and claw and win. So, you know, this is the rewards, this is the fruits of their labor. To be 27-1 tonight, it was all because of the hard work that they do in practice, in the training in the off season. And for the Oxon Hill young men who are returning next year, you'll know what you'll have to do to get back to this arena.
Without a doubt, James. There are no words to console. And here comes head coach Billy Lanier, a guy who's done an incredible job. As you see, he's very disheartened right now. Competitor, but just really caught up in the emotion ourselves right now, James, because we've almost fought this battle with these teams. And as now we see the championship trophies as Billy Lanier speaks to his ball club.
Well, we've been through this. We've been on some, you know, in some championship games and things, and we know what it's like to be on the losing end as well as the winning end. And all this does is it just builds character for these young men. It builds character for the young men. I mean, you don't always win a contest, but hopefully, you know, there'll be some good out of this because, hey, they played a tremendous ball game. They should hold their heads up high. There's nothing to be disappointed about because this is what basketball is always about, having winners and losers. And you grow from situations like this.
And now we're ready for the trophy presentations for the Maryland 4A state champion Trojans of Gaithersburg High School.
The Gaithersburg staff, they've done a remarkable job. I mean, to go out and win as seniors, that's remarkable too, because this is what you work so hard for 4 years at the high school, is to hopefully have some rewards.
And seniors, they were down by 16 points, and the loud applause for Cornell Hawkins, who hit that miracle three-pointer at one of the overtime sessions to keep the Trojans' hopes alive. And James, this is what it's all about, rewarding all of the players on this team, because it takes a lot of effort to keep your academics up, to come out and continue to practice, even if you don't get an opportunity to play.
Yeah, during this semester, what was shared with me early on too with the Gaithersburg team is that, you know, during the school semester, their team had an average grade point average of 3.1. So, hey, that tells you what those young men were doing, a lot of hard work in the classroom too.
Without a doubt.
Mike Ryan made some key buckets at the end too, so hey.
Mike Ryan was huge, but this game was so long and so hard fought. There are nothing but heroes all throughout the contest.
David Thompson and Megan Wilkinson.
And now the fine coaching staff.
Yeah. They've done a remarkable job, though. I mean, anytime you can go 27-1, that says a lot for your program.
And a rousing ovation for head coach Paul Foringer, who's brought these seniors to the point where they are now.
And now we will present an autographed basketball to the winning manager, and that goes to Gerard.
And the manager gets an autographed basketball.
Assistant coach, Mr. Paul Jordan.
Assistant coach Paul Jordan gets the net.
Mr. Evans will present the team championship trophy to the Gaithersburg Trojans for the record of 27.
And there it is. James, that's what they fought 9 quarters and 4 years for.
Yes, indeed. And I think we got one more award presentation by Mr. Ned Sparks.
All right. And James, I'm going to go out here and try to grab some interviews.
Okay.
This evening, and Mr. Ned Sparks will be presenting the Sportsmanship Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Sportsmanship Award presented every year in honor of Jack Willard, a longtime tournament chairman of this tournament, goes to the team that displays the best sportsmanship of their players, their fans, their cheerleaders, and their coaches. This year's award goes to Brunswick High School in Frederick County. Congratulations, Brunswick.
Tell Ned to see the teams.
And now we're here with victorious head coach Paul Foringer, and even in a moment of this championship, still politicking for the future. But coach, how do you describe this feeling? 9 periods to gain this championship.
Well, I'll tell you what, we just refuse to lose. It's happened all year. We've been in tight ball games, and I mean, we were down in some games with 1.2 seconds to go by 3 and 1. These kids just refused to lose, and they were down by 13 being handled in the first half. And we just talked about what we needed to do at halftime, getting back to our kind of game. And once again, we just kept coming back and coming back. And that buzzer beater by Cornell Hawkins had banked in. When he hit that, I knew that we were destined to win. I didn't know it was going to be at 11 o'clock at night, but I knew we were destined to win the game.
Coach, it was definitely a battle of epic proportions, but going back many moons ago to halftime when you're down by 16, what were you to do? What changes did you make at halftime to control Michael Sweetney?
Well, I got to tell you, I kept telling the kids, you know, you're shying away. You know, they were intimidated when they went in there against him. And we were getting good opportunities, but we were, you know, putting it up real soft, and you can't do that against him. The only way that you're going to go against a kid like that is to go strong, be aggressive, and try to draw some fouls. And we were doing that, and then he got in foul trouble, and then, you know, we got him out of the ball game. But, you know, I thought that Charles Johnson and Mike Ryan and Cornell Hawkins and, well, all of them, Gerard Woods came on in the second half and just played excellent defense and just took the ball inside and were very aggressive.
Well, Coach, you had at least 11 seniors in your ball club. You have to be happy for them.
This is just so good. You know, I told everybody last year that last year's team had more talent than this year's team. But the chemistry on this team was so excellent. You know, I just knew that they were going to do some great things. 27-1 and, you know, 5 overtimes. I didn't know that was going to happen, but, I mean, they were just destined for this moment.
Well, Coach, one thing for sure, you are Maryland 4A state championships. Congratulations.
Thank you
Thanks
very much.
a lot. And we're going to try to grab some of the other players. Hold on. We're trying to get Charles Johnson over here. And Charles is making his way over. Congratulations, Charles. And now we're here with Charles Johnson. And Charles, I'm standing next to you. They list you as 6'4". You were battling against the big guys all night long. It took 9 periods. But how does it feel, big fella, to have that championship?
It feels great. I'm a senior, and it's the only way they go out.
Now, you guys were down by 16. Coach Foringer was just saying at halftime he thought you guys were a little tentative going against Sweetney. Was that true, and you had to get more aggressive in the second half?
Yeah, I think people were adjusting their shots to him, and we just had to take it right to him, and that's what we did in the second half.
And And that fifth overtime, and yes, you played 9 periods tonight. That fifth overtime, you really made some clutch buckets down the stretch without their big presence in the low post.
Well, I just tried to find the gaps in their zone because they were kind of small in there, and Mike was able to find me.
All right, well, congratulations. You did a great job.
Thank you.
And now we're here with the man who made it possible. Cornell, how did it feel when you turned and looked back at that clock and saw there were 2 seconds left?
Man, I just knew that I had to get a good shot off. It wasn't a good shot, but it went in, you know.
So I didn't think I heard you call glass.
Nah, I didn't.
But how does it feel? We're talking about you as a star quarterback, and you showed that grit and determination at the end and that leadership when your ball club needed it.
I was just glad Coach gave me the opportunity to come on the court and help us in our victory tonight.
It looked like you still got some energy left, big fella. My voice is almost gone. 9 periods. This is unbelievable. It's got to be something you got to carry with you for a long time to come.
It will be moving for a long time.
Well, congratulations, son. And now we're here with Nehemiah Rudolph. And Nehemiah, I saw there were times where the coach had to take you out because you had nothing left. How does it feel to have gone 9 periods to capture this 4A state championship?
Well, it sure was tiring, but it was worth it, man. It was worth every bit of it. I just thank God that we got through it. It was awesome.
What were you thinking where Cornell had the ball in that overtime period? I forget which one it was, but you were down by 3, third overtime with 2 seconds left. Did you believe that was going to go down? Be honest.
I had no clue. I really didn't have any clue, but this whole year it just seemed like everything had been going for us, and I felt good. I felt good about the game. I mean, I know we were playing a really good team. And we hadn't played anybody like this before. So stepping up the competition, we had to step up a lot of play, and I just thank God that we did.
You guys showed an awful lot of heart coming up back from a 16-point halftime deficit, taking 5 overtimes, one of which you had to make a bank shot from 10 feet behind the 3-point arc at the buzzer and earn this 4A state championship. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now we're with second place coach Billy Lanier, the runner-up. I mean, there's no loser in a contest that goes 9-quarter, coach. You have to be extremely proud of your young players, but I guess extremely disheartened for your seniors.
Oh, yeah. I thought they played hard, and they competed all night. It was unfortunate that someone was sitting on the bench at the end. You know, it hurt them. They really wanted to win, but I told them, you know, they accomplished a lot of things. A lot of seniors left there hadn't accomplished some things they accomplished, and no one thought they accomplished them goals. And so, you know, now it hurts, but when they look back at it, you know, 10 or 15 years, they'll say, yeah, it was a great game. We played in a great game, and we accomplished a lot of things.
Now, Hekima Jackson, a sophomore who really stepped up. I mean, he really took the bull by the horns, and really that seemed to be the final tide turner when they got the very controversial 5th foul call on him.
Very controversial. A lot of calls were very controversial, but we won't get into that.
Let's stick on the positives for this. It was an epic battle. It went 9 quarters, came down. It had so many shots, so many ebbs and flows, so many tide turners. But you had a 16-point halftime advantage. I'm sure you told your troops it's not over. And I saw you call that early timeout when it looked like they were coming out playing loosey-goosey in the second half.
Yeah, I thought we made some critical mistakes at critical times. I thought we got a little selfish sometimes, and that's very surprising for our team. And I thought some guys were trying to put it on their backs and take it themselves. And you know, but you know, you do them things, and you know, but you can't be angry with them, can't be mad with them. I mean, they fought hard, and you know, we had a chance to win it in every overtime, so the last one. So, but you know, we can't be upset with them.
Well, Coach, I definitely want to commend you for doing an outstanding job and providing such an epic performance for us. Thanks a lot.
Your friend.
My friend?
Yeah, the one that you said that you asked if she could say hi. Everything I get, he tries to sell, you know. Oh, what a cute dog. You like it?
Anybody hear from Bill? He called Tuesday and said he couldn't decide whether he should buy or rent.
Literally, the dog was winding around and around her legs. Like, great, a dog. No.
Well, partner, they battled so long. They've turned the lights out on us, but there's definitely enough energy left from the aura of that monumental 5 overtime, 96-91 Gaithersburg championship, 4A championship victory.
Unbelievable. 5 overtimes. You had to have a loser at some point in time, and they were definitely just telling us, hey, it was time for us to go. I mean, we just hated to see the contest end. The men from Oxon Hill played a tremendous game, but my hat's off to the guys at Gaithersburg High School. Tremendous job, 26-1. Hey, they deserved it a little bit. They wanted a little bit more than the Oxon Hill team, so it's been a great night out in March Madness.
about it, and it was maddening, enjoyable, psychotic, crazy, all realms of emotion, and it was all made possible by a crack crew, headlined by Rudy Childs, Rob Williams, Adam Alpern, David Barnes, and Jerome Rivers, and thanks to Ned Sparks, everybody at Community Television Prince George's County, we were able to bring it here for you, and that concludes this epic battle. The Gaithersburg Trojans are champions of Maryland 4A by a final score of 96-91, and this concludes this special edition of the Roundball Report, and we'll see you next time. Down to 5 seconds to go. Charles Johnson looks back at the clock. Jump shot is going to come up short. And we're going to go to overtime. They get it to Sweetney. Little brings it across. 3 seconds to go. He loses possession. Launches it towards the hoop. Oh, no. Just off the back iron. And it's so nice we're going to have to do it twice. Double overtime. Gerard Woods on a penetration. No good. Loose ball. Battle. And we're going. It's been so nice. We're going to have to do it 3 times. We're going to triple overtime. Johnson for 3. Off the back iron. Battle for the loose ball. Launch it to Butler. Three-pointer off the glass, and we're going to a fourth overtime. 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're going 5 overtime.
A 5th one. Will we have a winner tonight, Andrew?
Richard Little brings it across. Down to 5 seconds. He launches 3. No good. Battle for the loose ball, and Cornell Hawkins, how fittingly is that, as Cornell Hawkins grabs the rebound, and it's pandemonium here as the Trojans of Gaithersburg